Chapter 4284. 12 Ultimate Profound Meanings against 8 Ultimate Profound Meanings was naturally a one-sided situation. As the ultimate profound meaning was crushed, the middle-aged man spat out a mouthful of blood. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He quickly turned around and fled, trying to escape. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf activated the moment of time and chased after him furiously. The middle-aged man's face was gloomy. He didn't expect these three people to be so powerful that they could master the will of heaven. Little Qin Zi, activate 2 wills of heaven. The white-eyed wolf transmitted his voice. No. We haven't figured out this person's identity yet. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Isn't it simple? He was obviously lying when he mentioned the all-seeing eye. So, I think he should be from the Central Dynasty. The white-eyed wolf said. Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. There was such a possibility. He pondered for a while and said, since he's from the Central Dynasty, he can't activate 2 wills of heaven. What are you afraid of? Afraid that he'll suspect your identity? Think of it this way. You and the inner demons are now father and son. As the saying goes, like father, like son. As the son, the inner demons can comprehend the ultimate profound meaning of the law of life and death. What's so strange about you, the father, comprehending the law of life and death? The white-eyed wolf chuckled. That makes sense. Qin Feiyang nodded. Also, now that you've revealed the ultimate profound meaning of the law of life and death, it's more suitable for your identity as a hidden expert. In short, they definitely won't think that you're Qin Feiyang. The white-eyed wolf said. Why are you suddenly so smart? Qin Feiyang looked at the white-eyed wolf in surprise. Damn! When have I not been smart? The white-eyed wolf glared at him angrily. Did he think that he was an idiot before? Smart my ass. Is there a need to use 2 ultimates to deal with such a person? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and waved his hand to open up a space-time tunnel. He walked in without looking back and said to himself, you continue to chase, I'll go in front to stop him. The white-eyed wolf was stunned and slapped himself angrily. Why are you showing off your IQ for no reason? Wasn't this just asking to be humiliated? Up ahead, under the night sky, the red-robed middle-aged man fled madly. Suddenly, he sensed that Qin Feiyang's aura had disappeared. When he turned around, he only saw the white-eyed wolf. He couldn't help but be stunned. Just as he turned his head, a space-time passageway appeared in front of him. Qin Feiyang took a step forward, unleashing his 6 ultimate profound meanings, which surged with the might of the heavens. The red-clothed middle-aged man hurriedly turned around to look at Qin Feiyang. His expression changed drastically. Let's see where you can run now. White-eyed wolf laughed hoarsely, his tone cold. 6 ultimate profound meanings appeared and attacked the red-robed middle-aged man. Good, good, good. I've really underestimated you. However, I'll be back. At that time, it'll be your doomsday. The red-clothed middle-aged man laughed sinisterly. A destructive aura suddenly rushed out of his body. His body directly exploded in the night sky. Self-destruct? Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were shocked. They didn't dare to hesitate and hurriedly turned around and fled. He actually self-destructed so straightforwardly? It seemed that this person had left his divine soul in advance before coming. A moment later, the 2 returned to the location of the self-destruction. They didn't find anything and returned to Blue Sun Mountain. Did he self-destruct? As soon as the 2 returned, Frenzied asked. Because the fluctuations of the self-destruction were too great, it had already affected Blue Sun Mountain. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Frenzied frowned and asked, did you see his true face? No. Qin Feiyang shook his head, then pondered for a moment and said, however, the white-eyed wolf and I analyzed it. This person should be from the Central Dynasty. The Central Dynasty? Right now, only Dong Tianqin and the others are from the Central Dynasty. On top of that, he has also mastered 8 ultimate profound laws. Could it be, Frenzied's eyes flashed as he said in surprise, Dong Laifu, or Dong Qingyuan? Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other. Currently, in the 4 continents, apart from Dong Tianqin, Dong Ping, Dong Xian, and Dong Qin, only Dong Laifu and Dong Qingyuan were from the Central Dynasty. Dong Tianqin and the other 3 had only mastered 7 ultimate laws. In that case, it was really those 2. That should be Dong Laifu. Because Dong Qingyuan wouldn't do such a thing himself. Qin Feiyang speculated. Zhuo Shaoxian asked in confusion, then why did they mention the all-seeing eye? She had heard it when she was cultivating in seclusion. As long as we know who this person is, it's not difficult to guess. He purposely mentioned the all-seeing eye to divert our attention and make us think that Qin Feiyang and the others are here to kill us. But they don't know that we are the ones here. Qin Feiyang sneered. Zhuo Shaoxian heard this and said in disgust, this person is really sinister. This is the outside world. Scheming against each other and scheming against each other is a common thing. If you're not careful, you might fall into the other party's trap. Frenzied snickered. Sigh. They just came to visit us in the morning, and in the blink of an eye, they're here to kill us at night. The human heart is really complicated. Mermaid Princess sighed. They're not here to kill us. Qin Feiyang shook his head. They're not. Mermaid Princess was stunned. Yes. In the morning, they've been trying to probe our strength, but we didn't give them a chance, so they decided to go all out and attack us. Qin Feiyang said. Mermaid Princess nodded in realization and asked, now that they know your strength, will they come again? It seems that they will. But they're definitely not here to kill us. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. At the same time. Mount Supreme. In the main hall. Dong Qingyuan leaned against the chair and closed his eyes to recuperate. Whoosh. Suddenly. Accompanied by the sound of something breaking through the air, a soul rushed into the main hall. It was Dong Laifu. What's wrong with you? Seeing Dong Laifu like this, Dong Qingyuan immediately sat up straight and asked in surprise. Dong Laifu's face was full of bitter smiles. Did they hurt you? Dong Qingyuan frowned. Yes and no. Dong Laifu said. What do you mean? The more Dong Qingyuan listened, the more puzzled he became. Just in case, when I went to Qingyang Mountain, I split a soul in advance and left it in Mount Supreme. This is the soul I split in advance. Dong Laifu explained. I see. Dong Qingyuan nodded in realization and asked, quite smart, what about your original body? It has already self-destructed. Dong Laifu smiled bitterly. What? Dong Qingyuan suddenly stood up. The strength of these people is beyond imagination. I originally thought that at most Lu Yuntian and Ling Yunfei's great-grandfather had mastered the will of heaven, but I didn't expect that their father and grandfather had also mastered the will of heaven. Dong Laifu said. You mean, the 3 of them have mastered the will of heaven? Dong Qingyuan was surprised. That's right. Otherwise, I wouldn't have self-destructed. Dong Laifu nodded. TSK, as expected of a hidden expert. Dong Qingyuan was amazed and asked, then did they find out your identity? Don't worry about that. Before I went, not only did I change my appearance, but I also wore a mask. Also, I deliberately mentioned the Heaven's Eye. They must have thought that Qin Feiyang and the others wanted to kill them. Dong Laifu smiled. That's right. I can rest assured when you do things. In this way, not only can we figure out their strength, but also lead their anger to Qin Feiyang and the others. It can be said to be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Dong Qingyuan smiled with relief. Hearing this, Dong Laifu's face was full of pride. However, with their indifferent mentality, will they go to Qin Feiyang and the others to settle accounts? Suddenly, Dong Qingyuan frowned again. This matter, hearing this question, Dong Lifu hesitated for a moment and shook his head. It's hard to say. If it were other people, they would definitely immediately go to Qin Feiyang and the others to settle accounts. But the mentality of these people from Qingyang Mountain was incomparable. For a moment, the hall quieted down. A moment later, Dong Lifu looked up at Dong Qingyuan and said, "Do you want us to plan again?" "What plan?" Dong Qingyuan looked at him suspiciously. "There's a first and second time for everything, but there can't be a third and fourth time. If Qin Feiyang and the others go to Qingyang Mountain every now and then, no matter how good their temper is, they will definitely be angry." Dong Lifu said. "You mean, continue to pretend to be Qin Feiyang and the others and go to Qingyang Mountain to kill them?" Dong Qingyuan asked. "Yes." Dong Lifu nodded. "Who's going? You? Or me? Or Dong Tianqian and the others?" "Dong Tianqian and the others can't do this kind of thing. Besides, now that they are all controlled by Qin Feiyang, they don't dare to do this kind of thing. It's even more impossible for me to go personally. As for you, now that your physical body has been destroyed and only a remnant soul is left, what can you do?" Dong Qingyuan shook his head. Dong Lifu smiled and said, "Isn't that simple? You can order the people of the three races to go. Monarch, the divine king, the supreme master of the human clan, dare to disobey your order?" "That's true. But what's the point of doing this? Lu Yunfeng and Lu Yuntian are originally our people. Without our orders, they will go to deal with Qin Feiyang and the others. As for the people of Qingyang Mountain, although they have mastered the will of heaven, they are not very strong in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. Because Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, Golden Wing Wolf King, any one of them can kill them in a second. Besides, if this matter is not handled well and Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng know that we are plotting against their families, I'm afraid that with their personalities, they will turn against us on the spot." Dong Qingyuan frowned and was a little worried. Indeed, these people from the Blue Sun Mountain are no match for Qin Feiyang and the others. However, if they were to truly die at the hands of Qin Feiyang and the others, what sort of reaction do you think Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng would have? There's one more thing. You have seen Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng's attitude now. They are not very active in dealing with Qin Feiyang and the others. However, if all of their loved ones were to be killed by Qin Feiyang and the others, it would be different. At that time, they would definitely go berserk, and would naturally hunt down Qin Feiyang and the others all over the place. Let's take a step back. Even if the people of Qingyang Mountain are not dead, as long as they are implicated, Lu Yunfeng and Lu Yunfeng will become more active than before. Dong Lifu's eyes flashed. Then what if they find out that this is all part of our plan? At that time, who will face their anger? Dong Qingyuan frowned. They won't. As long as we order the monarch and the others to keep this matter a secret, the two brothers will never find out. If they really find out, I will say that I acted on my own and did it behind your back. It has nothing to do with you. If they want to find trouble, they will come to me, not you." Dong Lifu said. A smile flashed across Dong Qingyuan's eyes when he heard this. He had been waiting for Dong Lifu to say this. As long as he was not implicated, he would do anything. Since you insist on doing this, then you can do as you see fit. Besides, it will be some time before our main force arrives. We can't just sit around during this time. Dong Qingyuan smiled. Don't worry, you will definitely be satisfied with this show. Dong Lifu said with a smile, then turned around and left quickly. Chapter 4286. North Continent. The ancestral land of the purple gold divine dragons. In front of a majestic hall. The king and heavenly lord Ji bowed and looked at an old man in a black robe in front of them. "We didn't know you were coming, please forgive us." The old man in a black robe was naturally Dong Laifu. There was also a young man next to Dong Laifu. It was Dong Tianchen. Because his body was destroyed, he couldn't open the portal himself, so he asked Dong Tianchen to bring him to Mount Supreme. It's fine. Dong Laifu waved at the king and heavenly Lord Ji, then turned to Dong Tianchen with a smile. Wait for me outside. After saying that, he arrogantly stepped into the main hall. The king and heavenly Lord Ji were suspicious and followed into the hall. Heavenly Lord Ji asked carefully, Sir, why are you in your divine soul form now? Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Dong Laifu stopped and his face turned cold. Yes. Heavenly Lord Ji nodded. But he couldn't help but snort in his heart. Isn't he just Dong Qingyuan's dog? What's there to be arrogant about? Dong Laifu turned to the two and said, I came to find you this time because I have something for you to do. The king was startled. Sure enough, he didn't come for no reason. He smiled and said, Please tell us. Sit down, let's talk. Dong Laifu turned and walked to the tea table. The king and heavenly Lord Ji also quickly sat opposite Dong Laifu. Dong Laifu waved his hand and the door quickly closed. What's going on? Dong Tianchen frowned. Why did he deliberately hide it from him? But one thing was for sure. Nothing good would come out of this old man's actions. Because he knew Dong Laifu. A sinister and cunning old man who would do anything to achieve his goals. After a while. Inside the hall. The king and heavenly Lord Ji stood up and looked at Dong Laifu in shock. Calm down, calm down. Dong Laifu waved his hand and signaled them to sit down. The king and heavenly Lord Ji looked at each other and slowly returned to their seats. Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng's family? They knew who Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng were. One was Qin Feiyang's inner demons, and the other was Qin Feiyang's big cousin. They were all from Great Qin, so how could they have parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents in the Divine Kingdom? Wait. Father, this should be a trap set up by Qin Feiyang. In other words, the so-called parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and great-grandparents are probably Qin Feiyang and the others themselves. Heavenly Lord Ji transmitted his voice. The monarch thought to himself, that's possible. Only by understanding the origins of the inner demons and Lu Jiajin will the central dynasty let down their guard against them. These brats really know how to cause trouble. Heavenly Lord Ji secretly smiled. To be able to come up with such a rotten idea, what a talent. Why aren't you saying anything? Dong Laifu looked at the two and asked. The monarch and heavenly Lord Ji looked at each other and smiled wryly at Dong Laifu. We're scared by your plan. The monarch of the divine kingdom and the patriarch of the purple gold divine dragon race are so cowardly. Dong Laifu looked at the two with disdain. It's not that we're cowardly. It's that this is too crazy. Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng are on our side. How can we do anything to their family? Besides, the two brothers are extremely powerful. Let's talk about Lu Yuntian first. He has mastered the laws of life and death, the 6 strongest laws, and the demon king's true form. Even my father and the divine king were almost killed by him. We can't underestimate Lu Yunfeng either. He has the Eye of Void, one of the 10 strongest battle souls. If they know that we're doing something to their family, they'll definitely turn against us. Heavenly Lord Ji sighed. This Dong Laifu was really sinister. He would do anything to achieve his goal. This is what I'm going to tell you next. You must keep this a secret, not even to your confidants. Dong Laifu said. Heavenly Lord Ji pondered for a while and asked, Are you sure? Dong Laifu nodded. Okay. But if Lu Yuntian and the monarch find out about this, we won't take any responsibility. Heavenly Lord Ji said. Don't worry, they won't find out. Dong Laifu smiled confidently. They won't? Hearing this, Heavenly Lord Ji and the monarch sneered. Confidence was a good thing. But overconfidence was arrogance and conceit. The monarch looked at Dong Lifu and said, "There's one more thing that I don't understand." "What?" Dong Lifu was suspicious. "You and Lord Dong Qingyuan are living on Mount Supreme now. Why didn't you ask the lords for help? Why did you come all the way to the North Continent to ask us for help?" The monarch was confused. "Because you have 3,000 incarnations." Dong Lifu's eyes glittered. "What do you mean?" The monarch and the monarch were confused. "You have 3,000 incarnations and Qin Feiyang also has 3,000 incarnations. When you turn into Qin Feiyang and go to Mount Azure Sun, who will know that you're an imposter?" Dong Lifu chuckled. He was extremely proud of his intelligence and wisdom. "I see." The two of them were enlightened. It turned out that they were going to pretend to be Qin Feiyang and go to Mount Azure Sunday, act as soon as possible. "I'll wait for your good news." Dong Lifu smiled and walked to the door. He opened the door and left with Dong Tianqian. The monarch and the monarch got up to see them off. When the portal disappeared, Heavenly Lord Ji didn't hide the sneer on his face. "What are you laughing at?" The monarch was curious. "He's too naive." Heavenly Lord Ji shook his head. "Indeed. His self-righteous plan is nothing more than showing off in front of an expert." A mocking smile appeared on the monarch's face. Frankly speaking, Dong Lifu's plan was quite vicious. If it were someone else, once the plan succeeded, they would definitely chase after Qin Feiyang crazily. However, he didn't expect that the inner demons and Lu Jiajin were Qin Feiyang's people. Even now, those people in Mount Azure Sun might be Qin Feiyang and the others. Besides that, Dong Lifu also made a fatal mistake. That was to ask for their help. Now, they had formed an alliance with Qin Feiyang and the others. If they asked for help, wouldn't it be asking for humiliation? However, apart from them, Dong Lifu couldn't find anyone else to help in the 4 great continents. Time flew. 3 days later at night. Mount Azure Sunday. The hazy moonlight made this quiet place deep in the mountains look like it was wrapped in silver. Halfway up the mountain, the candlelight flickered. Except for the sound of the flowing stream, it was very quiet here. Whoosh! A black shadow suddenly descended above Mount Azure Sunday. Not bad. This person was Heavenly Lord Ji. But at this moment, he had already changed his appearance to that of Qin Feiyang. Looking at the mountains and the small wooden buildings halfway up the mountain, there was a hint of a smile in his eyes. These guys really knew how to find a place. "Who is it?" Suddenly, a loud shout broke the silence of the night. Then, Qin Feiyang, the lunatic, and the white-eyed wolf rushed out from halfway up the mountain and landed in front of Heavenly Lord Ji. Damn! When they saw the appearance of the person at this moment, the corners of their mouths twitched. He actually pretended to be them in front of them? This person must be stupid. The white-eyed wolf coughed and tried to hold back the laughter in his heart. He asked suspiciously, "You are?" Heavenly Lord Ji glanced at the 3 of them and sneered. "Now in the Divine Kingdom, there is actually someone who doesn't know me, Qin Feiyang." He was also thinking. Were these 3 unfamiliar faces in front of him Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and the Golden-Winged Wolf King? "You are Qin Feiyang?" Hearing this, the white-eyed wolf was shocked and immediately became vigilant. He said in a deep voice, "What are you doing here? What do you think?" Heavenly Lord Ji smiled. "I don't know. But we have never met before, let alone become enemies." The white-eyed wolf said. "Yes." Heavenly Lord Ji nodded. "Then what are you doing here? Also, the masked man who came to our Mount Azure Sun 3 days ago, were you also the one who sent him?" The white-eyed wolf asked. "Yes." Heavenly Lord Ji nodded again. "Why did you do this?" The white-eyed wolf said angrily. "Why?" Heavenly Lord Ji chuckled and said, "Because you are the relatives of Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, 3,000 incarnations were activated. Terrifying auras immediately rolled in this world. He activated 3,000 incarnations not to attack, but to test the identity of Qin Feiyang and the other two. Because in the entire Divine Kingdom, only the Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan had 3,000 incarnations. If these three people in front of him were really Qin Feiyang and the other two, he would definitely be able to guess his identity. 3,000 incarnations? As expected. Seeing this fake Qin Feiyang activate 3,000 incarnations, Qin Feiyang and the other two were stunned. What was going on? They had thought that the imposter in front of them could be Dong Qingyuan, Dong Tianchen, or Dong Ping. But they had never thought that he would be a member of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan. But who was he? The monarch? Heavenly Lord Ji? Or Boss Ji and the other old people? You. The white-eyed wolf came back to his senses and was about to speak, but Qin Feiyang suddenly stepped in front of the white-eyed wolf and interrupted him. He looked at Heavenly Lord Ji and said gloomily, "You are really Qin Feiyang." This time, the white-eyed wolf didn't understand. The other party had already activated 3,000 incarnations and proved his identity. Why was little Qin Zi still playing dumb? Don't forget about Dong Qingyuan and Dong Laifu. Right now, they might be secretly watching us. If you speak now, won't you expose our identity? Qin Feiyang said telepathically. When the ingrate heard this, he quivered and immediately looked around the mountains and rivers without leaving a trace. Don't be so nervous. I'm just saying it's possible. Qin Feiyang thought. Then he looked at Heavenly Lord Ji and asked telepathically, "Are you the monarch or uncle?" Hearing this, Heavenly Lord Ji's mouth twitched and he said angrily, "You brats. You really know how to call me?" That was obvious. Huh, the white-eyed wolf immediately smiled and said, "So it's really uncle." Chapter 4287. Heavenly Lord Ji rolled his eyes and finally let down his guard. He said, "You, don't. Let's talk in secret. What if Dong Laifu and the others are watching us? That's not good." Qin Feiyang hastily stopped him in secret. Hearing this, Heavenly Lord Ji was slightly dazed and thought, "That's impossible. Dong Laifu and the others are all at Mount Supreme and I didn't inform them when I came here. Don't forget that there are 2 spies in the Purple Gold Divine Dragon race. So, anything is possible." Qin Feiyang said. Hearing this, Heavenly Lord Ji shuddered, and his relaxed heart tensed up again. "Uncle, what's going on? Why are you still pretending to be old Qin?" Madman asked curiously through voice transmission. "It's a long story. I'll explain it to you in secret while fighting." Heavenly Lord Ji thought. If Dong Laifu and the others were really spying on them, they would definitely be suspicious if they didn't do anything. Okay. The 3 of them replied secretly. "You guys should be prepared. Don't blame me. You can only blame Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng for coming to us." Heavenly Lord Ji sneered and his energy surged out. "Don't use 3,000 incarnations if you dare," Qin Feiyang said solemnly. At the same time, Crazy said, "All the beasts, leave Mount Azure's sun immediately. These were the beasts of the Black Tortoise world and they must be safe." The Mermaid Princess, Zhuo Shaoxian and Fire Dance also rushed to Qin Feiyang and the others. Qin Feiyang immediately waved his hand and sent them to the Black Tortoise world. Seeing this, Heavenly Lord Ji sneered, "Do you think they'll be safe after sending them into the divine item? You're young, Yuntian and Yunfeng are also young. Why do you have to involve us old guys in the grudge between you young people?" Qin Feiyang said angrily. "Why?" "Because I want to." Heavenly Lord Ji laughed. "Preposterous. 3 days ago, you sent people here. We didn't want to argue with you, but we didn't expect you to go from bad to worse. Don't activate your 3,000 clones if you dare." Qin Feiyang roared. Indeed, I don't need 3,000 incarnations to kill you. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled disdainfully as his 3,000 incarnations dissipated. Ha, Qin Feiyang, you really are crazy. Attack. The three of them unleashed their auras and joined forces to attack Heavenly Lord Ji. The four of them clashed against each other, and the void around them began to crumble. What's going on? Madman asked. This is Dong Laifu's idea. Heavenly Lord Ji told Dong Laifu's plan in detail while fighting with Qin Feiyang and the other two. I see. These people are truly vicious and merciless. The madman's eyes flashed with killing intent. Heavenly Lord Ji thought to himself, so now, how do you plan to counterattack? How? Isn't that obvious? We'll go to Mount Supreme later and kill those two old bastards. The white-eyed wolf sneered. Qin Feiyang remained silent. Heavenly Lord Ji glanced at the white-eyed wolf, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, why aren't you saying anything? I'm thinking, Dong Laifu's plan is still a good thing for us. Qin Feiyang thought. Good thing? Heavenly Lord Ji, the white-eyed wolf, and the madman were confused. No matter how they looked at it, it wasn't a good thing. Think about it carefully. In order to cooperate with the inner demons and big cousin, we have to live on Azure Sun Mountain and pretend to be their parents, grandfathers, and great-grandfathers. And we have to be wary of Dong Qingyuan and the others coming to find us. Isn't that tiring? Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. Of course it's tiring. The madman and the white-eyed wolf secretly replied. So, I thought of a way to escape. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. What? The two were curious. Doesn't Dong Laifu want us dead? Then we'll beat him at his own game and really die in front of him. After we die, we won't have to play these roles anymore. Qin Feiyang thought. That's right. The madman and the white-eyed wolf suddenly understood. As long as they died in the hands of Heavenly Lord Ji, they could escape perfectly. Also, as long as we die, in the eyes of Dong Qingyuan and the others, the inner demons and big cousin will be enemies with us. At that time, won't they completely trust the inner demons and big cousin? Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. Wonderful. Wonderful. Not only can we escape, but we can also help the inner demons and Lu Jiajin gain the trust of the central dynasty. This is killing two birds with one stone. Hearing this, even Heavenly Lord Ji couldn't help but praise. Dong Laifu and Dong Qingyuan's plan to kill two birds with one stone was not only easily solved by Qin Feiyang, but it also helped Qin Feiyang and the others. This kid's brain was indeed incomparable to ordinary people. If Dong Laifu and Dong Qingyuan knew about this, they would be furious. This was because they took the initiative to give this opportunity to Qin Feiyang and the others. Then let's die in front of them. The madman said telepathically. Then I'll have to be ruthless. Heavenly Lord Ji secretly said. Come on. The three of them secretly laughed. Brat. Heavenly Lord Ji secretly scolded. Although the four of them were secretly communicating, the battle was very intense. Suddenly, Heavenly Lord Ji activated 3 avatars. All kinds of ultimate mysteries appeared and the will of the heavenly Tao erupted. Didn't we agree not to activate 3,000 avatars? The madman roared. Are you still children? Do you believe everything I say? Heavenly Lord Ji sneered and all kinds of ultimate mysteries instantly blasted toward Qin Feiyang and the other two. Qin Feiyang and the other two also hurriedly activated their ultimate mysteries to counterattack. But Heavenly Lord Ji and the 3 avatars directly crushed them in terms of numbers. The 3 of them screamed and smashed into the depths of the earth. Dust billowed and covered all directions. The 3 of them were dripping with blood, but they were buried in the soil. Even if someone was next to them, they wouldn't be able to see the golden blood of Qin Feiyang's purple gold divine dragon and the white-eyed wolf. Your strength is not bad, but it's far from enough in front of me. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled coldly. The 6 ultimate mysteries were activated again and attacked the ground below. Yuntian and Yunfeng will not let you go. The 3 of them roared angrily from the depths of the earth. Huh, just the 2 of them? They will die in my hands sooner or later. Heavenly Lord Ji laughed wildly. Boom! The 6 ultimate mysteries blasted into the depths of the earth. The life fluctuations of Qin Feiyang and the other 2 also disappeared on the spot. Then, the figures of Qin Feiyang and the other 2 could no longer be seen. Even the blood and soil were annihilated, revealing a deep pit that was tens of thousands of feet deep. But were they really dead? Obviously not. They all ran to the Black Tortoise realm and immediately drove the realm away quietly. When the dust settled, Heavenly Lord Ji pretended to release his divine will to search for a while, then opened a space-time tunnel and left without looking back. Not long after Heavenly Lord Ji left, 2 figures walked out of the night on a mountain peak in the distance and descended above the shattered mountain. That's right. One of them was Dong Laifu. The other was a red-haired old man. Who else could it be other than the spy, Old Wu? He really killed them. Old Wu murmured. This is my order. Would Heavenly Lord Ji dare to disobey? Dong Laifu smiled proudly. Of course, of course. Old Wu nodded repeatedly with a flattering smile on his face. Dong Laifu smiled and said, but you also contributed by helping us keep an eye on the monarch and Heavenly Lord Ji. This is what I should do. Old Wu bowed. Very good. Dong Laifu nodded and asked, did you record the previous battle? Yes. Old Wu raised his arm and held a divine voice stone in his hand. Dong Laifu glanced at the divine voice stone and said with a smile, then go and spread this video now. I want Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng to see it with their own eyes. When that time comes, they will definitely go crazy and hunt down Qin Feiyang. Okay. Old Wu nodded. The 2 of them left smugly. But what they didn't know was that just as they left, 3 figures walked out from under the night sky. It was Qin Feiyang and the other 2 who had returned. They really hid in the dark and watched us. The white-eyed wolf said with lingering fear. Fortunately, Qin Feiyang was vigilant. Otherwise, their identities would have been exposed. Dong Laifu. I don't want to say anything, but this old Wu, I really want to kill him. The lunatic's eyes flashed fiercely like a wild beast, making people tremble. Don't worry. He won't live for long either. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, hurry up and gather those fierce beasts and return to the Black Tortoise world. These fierce beasts in the Black Tortoise world were loyal to him. He definitely couldn't abandon them like this. He wasn't that kind of person. A moment later. Black Tortoise world. Tea garden. Qin Feiyang took out the divine voice stone and sent a message to Heavenly Lord Ji. Heavenly Lord didn't hurt you, right? Heavenly Lord Ji was with the monarch. The monarch already knew everything, so he asked with a smile. Why not? We almost lost our lives. So uncle, you have to compensate us. The white-eyed wolf said with grievance. Heavenly Lord Ji's face twitched. There should be a level of shamelessness, right? Ha. The monarch laughed. You seem to be in a good mood. The white-eyed wolf looked at the monarch again. You guys can think of such a perfect plan, of course I'm in a good mood. The monarch said. Then let me tell you something. Your good mood will definitely be ruined in an instant. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. What is it? The monarch was suspicious. The white-eyed wolf said Dong Laifu was really monitoring us at Qingyang Mountain. Hearing this, Heavenly Lord Ji's pupils suddenly shrank. This damn old man was too sinister. If it wasn't for Qin Feiyang being careful, everyone would be finished. The white-eyed wolf looked at the 2 of them and continued, but that's not the main point. The main point is that there was another person beside Dong Laifu, and that person was Old Wu. That damn thing. The monarch suddenly stood up, his face full of anger. He thought that after the dragon god and Neptune died, old Wu, the spy, would stop. But he didn't expect that he would collude with the people of the Central Dynasty. Chapter 4288. He does deserve to die. A cold light flashed in Heavenly Lord Ji's eyes. He used to trust Elder Wu very much and was very grateful to him. Because Elder Wu not only saved Ji Tianyue's life, but also doted on him and Ji Tianyue when they were young. He treated Elder Wu as his grandfather. But he didn't expect that Elder Wu was just pretending. How is it? Is your good mood gone? The white-eyed wolf couldn't help but laugh. You're still gloating? The king stared at the white-eyed wolf angrily. He was indeed heartless. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "When can we get rid of him?" Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said with a smile, "Now is fine." Now? The king and Heavenly Lord Ji looked at each other. Yes. He wants to die. If we don't help him, wouldn't we be letting him down? Qin Feiyang laughed. What do you mean? The king and the white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang curiously. We didn't kill him before because he might still be useful and we couldn't find a suitable reason. But now, he has delivered a reason to us. A cold light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes and he continued, "This time, they schemed against us. Not only will I get back at them, but I will also make them pay the price." They? The four frowned. Yes. Not only Elder Wu, but Dong Lifu also has to die. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Hurry up and say it. Don't waste time and deliberately keep us in suspense. Heavenly Lord Ji urged. It's very simple. Long Chen has the soul-controlling art. We'll find a chance to control Dong Lifu. At that time, we'll make him say in person how he sent people to Qingyang Mountain to kill Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng's family and then frame us. Qin Feiyang laughed. Good plan. The monarch and Heavenly Lord Ji nodded. In this way, the inner demons and Lu Jiajin could openly kill Dong Lifu and eliminate a future enemy. At the same time, they could also eliminate the spy, Old Wu. It was killing two birds with one stone. That's not right. The white-eyed wolf suddenly said, Dong Lifu asked First Uncle to impersonate you to kill us. Won't First Uncle be implicated then? Uncle will definitely be implicated. But the inner demons and eldest cousin are on the same side, so eldest uncle naturally has a way out. I've already thought of a way out for uncle. Qin Feiyang chuckled. What path of retreat? Heavenly Lord Ji looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, when the time comes, you can split a part of your soul and advance. Even if the inner demons and big cousin kill you, you won't be able to do anything. Kill me? Where will I go in the future? He can't possibly come back from the dead. Heavenly Lord Ji was speechless. Of course not. When the time comes, you can come to our Black Tortoise world. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Your Black Tortoise world? Heavenly Lord Ji was stunned. That's right. You've been busy all day in the Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan, and now you can come to our Black Tortoise world to enjoy life. Also, you can also take the opportunity to go into seclusion and integrate all the other ultimate mysteries. Qin Feiyang smiled. The white-eyed wolf's eyes lit up and nodded. That makes sense. If you stay in the Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan, will you have time to integrate the ultimate mysteries we gave you? That's right. After so many years, I'm indeed a little tired. I can take this opportunity to have a good rest. Heavenly Lord Ji nodded. I don't agree. The king suddenly spoke with a dark face. Huh? Everyone looked at the king. The king glared at Heavenly Lord Ji and said angrily, I haven't even retired, and you're already thinking about enjoying life as a son? Ha! Heavenly Lord Ji laughed dryly. Besides, if you leave, who will be in charge of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan's affairs? The king said. Don't we still have you? Heavenly Lord Ji smiled flatteringly. Get lost. Is this what a son should say? If you want to enjoy life, it should be me. The king said angrily. The corner of Heavenly Lord Ji's mouth twitched. The king said unhappily, if I had known, I wouldn't have let you go to Blue Sun Mountain. I would have gone there personally. This way, I can fake my death and enjoy life openly. But now, the person going to Blue Sun Mountain is me. Besides, isn't there still second uncle? He has long coveted the position of the patriarch. Why don't we let him sit for a while? Heavenly Lord Ji mumbled. Nonsense. It's not like you don't know what kind of person your second uncle is. He doesn't have this ability at all. The king berated. Let me say something. Actually, the current strength of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan is not that great. At least, it is much weaker than the Central Dynasty. Therefore, if first uncle can integrate all the ultimate profoundness, it will be of great help to the situation in the future. Qin Feiyang looked at the king and said with a smile. Indeed. The white-eyed wolf and Frenzy nodded in agreement. The king looked at the white-eyed wolf and Frenzy, then at Qin Feiyang and Heavenly Lord Ji, and asked, You two are in cahoots, right? No, definitely not. Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand and said, If you insist on not agreeing, it's fine. But for the time being, there is no chance to get rid of Dong Laifu. We can only keep Old Wu for now. As long as you don't feel annoyed when you see Old Wu every day in the future, it will be fine. You stinking brat, do you think that I don't dare to kill him personally? The king said angrily. Of course you dare. But now, Old Wu is already related to the people of the Central Dynasty. You have to think twice before you kill him, lest he brings you trouble. Qin Feiyang chuckled. The king frowned. This kid was obviously going to get rid of him. Heavenly Lord Ji was very tactful and remained silent. Because he knew his father's temper. If he spoke now, it would only be counterproductive. You just have to work a little harder. Besides, you have to give Ji Yunhai a chance. You can't keep first uncle by your side all the time. Don't you want to have another grandchild? If first uncle is always busy, then will he still have time to make babies? Frenzy bared his teeth. Hearing this, Heavenly Lord Ji's face couldn't help but turn black. What nonsense was this? The king was also extremely speechless. This was too far-fetched. But then again, he only had one son, Heavenly Lord Ji, and Heavenly Lord Ji only had one son. His bloodline was really not that great. All right. I agree. But don't misunderstand. I don't want any grandchild. I just want him to have time to integrate the ultimate meaning. When I retire in the future, he can become the pillar of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon race. The king said. Understood. Qin Feiyang nodded. Thank you, father. Heavenly Lord Ji was very excited. He could finally put down this heavy burden and live the life he wanted. You seem very happy. The king frowned and glanced at Heavenly Lord Ji. No. I'm not happy. Instead, I'm sad that I won't be able to help father in the future. Heavenly Lord Ji blinked his eyes with a sad expression. The corners of Qin Feiyang and the other two's mouths twitched. They were all drama queens. Stop. You're giving me goosebumps. The king slapped Heavenly Lord Ji's head and sighed. To be honest, apart from you, I really don't know who else has the ability to manage the Purple Gold Divine Dragon race well. Ability isn't innate. If it weren't for your nurturing, I wouldn't have this ability either. So, as long as you're willing to trust second uncle, I believe that he can do it. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled. All right. The king nodded, then looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two and said, But before you take action, I have to see my younger brother's attitude first. What attitude? Qin Feiyang and the other two were suspicious. His attitude towards you. The king's eyes flashed. He didn't explain and turned off the voice transmission stone. He looked at Heavenly Lord Ji and said, "Go and call your second uncle here." Okay. Heavenly Lord Ji nodded and didn't ask any more questions. He turned and left quickly. In less than 100 breaths. Heavenly Lord Ji led Ji Yunhai into the room. Ji Yunhai looked at the king and said with a smile, "Big brother, is there something important that you asked Heavenly Lord Ji to call me here in the middle of the night?" "Yes." The king smiled and pointed at the chair opposite him. Ji Yunhai walked over and sat on the chair. Heavenly Lord Ji sat next to the king. The king waved his hand and set up a soundproof barrier. He said with a smile, "Second brother, we're brothers. There are some things that I won't beat around the bush and say directly. Why does it seem to be quite serious?" Ji Yunhai was a little flustered. "Don't be nervous." The king smiled and comforted him. "Actually, I know that you've always been interested in the position of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan's patriarch." Before the king finished speaking, Ji Yunhai hurriedly got up, his face full of fear. He said hurriedly, "Big brother, what are you nervous about? Sit down, sit down. Tonight, just treat it as a heart-to-heart talk between us brothers." The king stretched out his hand and said with a smile. Why did it feel like he was a tyrant in his younger brother's eyes? Ji Yunhai looked at the king and then at Heavenly Lord Ji. Heavenly Lord Ji also gave him a comforting look. At this time, Ji Yunhai suppressed the fear in his heart and returned to the chair. "Yunhai, let me ask you a question. If you were the patriarch of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan, how would you deal with the current situation?" The king asked. The current situation? Ji Yunhai was taken aback. That's right. Qin Feiyang and his people are now like the sun at noon in the Divine Kingdom. The sea race and the beast race have successively fallen in their hands. Now, even the people of the Central Dynasty have repeatedly lost to them. Facing them, how do you think our Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan should deal with them? And, what's your attitude towards Qin Feiyang and his people now? The king asked with a smile. When Heavenly Lord Ji heard this, he finally understood what his father meant by attitude. He was testing his second uncle. If his second uncle's answer couldn't satisfy his father, then the matter of him faking his death would probably be ruined. Chapter 4289. Well, Ji Yunhai wanted to say something but stopped. He seemed to be hesitating. Just say it. The king smiled. Ji Yunhai gritted his teeth and said seriously, "Brother, don't be angry if I really say it. Also, you can't let others know. You'll lose your life." The king and Heavenly Lord Ji looked at each other and looked at Ji Yunhai suspiciously. Let's talk about the current situation of the Divine Kingdom first. As you said, Qin Feiyang and the others are like the sun in the sky now. The sea race and the beast race continue to fall in their hands. The Purple Gold Divine Dragon race, the human race, and the Deity race have also suffered great losses in their hands. You can say that. Now, the 4 great continents can't compete with them unless we join forces with the other races. But, even if we join forces, we can't beat them. Ji Yunhai shook his head and sighed. Heavenly Lord Ji frowned and said, "We can't beat them even if we join forces? Isn't this a bit boosting the morale of others and destroying our own?" Heavenly Lord, you're wrong. Second uncle doesn't mean to boost the morale of others at all. Because that's the truth. Although we can indeed threaten Qin Feiyang and the others if we join forces, they have brains and all kinds of heaven-defying methods. For example, Mu Qing's all-seeing eye is a problem that can't be solved. With the all-seeing eye, they can find our whereabouts at any time, but we don't even know where they're hiding. They can definitely find a chance to defeat us one by one. Ji Yunhai sighed. Makes sense. The king and Heavenly Lord nodded. Ji Yunhai shook his head and said, I even think that if they want to, they can destroy us in minutes. The king was surprised and smiled. I didn't expect you to see the problem so clearly. Brother, don't laugh at me. Anyone with a discerning eye can see this kind of thing. I don't believe that you can't see it. Ji Yunhai waved his hand and felt ashamed. Then, how do you think we should solve the current situation? The king asked. 2 ways. The first way is to let the emperor of the central dynasty send a large army. Big brother, you saw what happened during this period of time. Back then, when Elder Yu brought the 10 great prodigies to the 4 great continents, we all thought that these people from the central dynasty would definitely have the ability to eliminate Qin Feiyang and the others. But in the end, not only did they fail to get rid of Qin Feiyang and the others, they even caused the destruction of the sea race and the beast race. As for the top 10 prodigies, 8 of them fled back to the central dynasty. Only Yu Lao, Lu Yuntian, and Lu Yunfeng are left. But we don't know if Yu Lao is still alive. Lu Yuntian and his brother might be strong, but they're far from enough to face Qin Feiyang and the others. When Ji Yunhai spoke up to hear, he could not help but let out a sigh. In such a large divine kingdom, there was not a single person who could subdue these people. It was really a sad thing. Elder Yu, I'm afraid he's already done for. Heavenly Lord Ji sighed. I think so too. How could he die peacefully after falling into the hands of Qin Feiyang and the others? The monarch nodded. In fact, they knew that Yu Lao, Neptune, and the dragon god had already been killed. But now, Ji Yunhai's position was still uncertain, so he could not say it directly. Second uncle, please continue. Heavenly Lord Ji looked at Ji Yunhai and smiled. After Yu Lao and the 10 heavenly talents, the 5 unparalleled talents of the central dynasty came to the 4 great continents. They're indeed powerful, but what's the point? The 5 of them were defeated one after another and were even played around by Qin Feiyang and the others. So, no matter how strong they are, they can't defeat Qin Feiyang and the others with their own strength. We can only fight head-on if the central dynasty comes. Ji Yunhai said. The monarch frowned and said, but we don't know how many overlords there are in the central dynasty. That's why I'm hesitating. It's fine if the central dynasty has the ability to eliminate Qin Feiyang and the others, but if they don't have the ability, then won't the purple gold divine dragons be destroyed sooner or later if we continue to follow the central dynasty? Ji Yunhai was worried. Heavenly Lord Ji's pupils shrank and he said, Second uncle, what do you mean? Do you want us to betray the central dynasty? Shoo. Ji Yunhai's face changed and he quickly made a shushing gesture. He looked at the closed door and his face was full of vigilance. Don't worry, I've set up a soundproof barrier. No one can hear you. The monarch comforted. Still, we have to be careful. Ji Yunhai said cautiously. He looked at Heavenly Lord Ji and said, Heavenly Lord, this is the second option I'm going to talk about. Of course, I'm just saying. Don't take it too seriously. Go ahead. Heavenly Lord Ji and the monarch looked at each other and looked at Ji Yunhai with anticipation. Ji Yunhai's eyes flashed and he said word by word, the second option I'm talking about is to betray the divine kingdom. Hearing this, the father and son couldn't help but be shocked. They didn't expect Ji Yunhai to already have such an idea. This was good news. Because as long as Ji Yunhai had such an idea, they could strike while the iron was hot and completely persuade Ji Yunhai. I know. Betraying the divine kingdom is an act of disloyalty. But, as the direct descendants of the purple gold divine dragon clan, we must think for our clan. No matter what you think, I really don't want our purple gold divine dragon clan to follow in the footsteps of the sea race and the beast race. And if we don't want to follow in the footsteps of the sea race and the beast race, the only way is to cooperate with Qin Feiyang and overthrow the central dynasty. A trace of ruthlessness appeared in Ji Yunhai's eyes. Heavenly Lord Ji looked shocked and said, Second uncle, this idea of yours is crazy. It is a little crazy. But it's a feasible path. Think about it, whose descendant is Qin Feiyang? He's Yu Er's descendant. Qin Batian is Yu Er's biological child. In terms of seniority, I'm also Qin Baishan's second grandfather. Heavenly Lord, you're also Qin Baishan's uncle. What kind of relationship is this? Blood is thicker than water. And last time, when Dong Tianxin used my brother as a bargaining chip, Qin Feiyang heard the news and came personally. Although it was only an avatar, it's enough to show that he does have some feelings for the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan. Actually, speaking of this, Ji Yunhai paused for a while and sighed. I've been very conflicted these years. Conflicted? The father and son were both suspicious. Yes. Very conflicted. I used to hate Qin Feiyang and the others because they took away Shaoyi's Eye of Destiny. They also had something to do with Tianfeng's death. After that happened, I don't know how many nights I couldn't sleep. The endless pain and suffering almost made me collapse. But at the same time, in the dead of the night, I also thought about many things alone. Shaoyi can't blame Qin Feiyang and the others for losing the Eye of Destiny. This is because they didn't take it by force like they did to Jiang Yunshuang and the others. Instead, they competed fairly. As for Tianfeng, he betrayed his clan and became the pawn of the sea race and the beast race. He deserved it. Ji Yunhai sighed. Speaking of this, he felt very guilty. Ji Tianfeng was his son. He was also responsible for his son becoming like this. The king poured a cup of tea and handed it to Ji Yunhai. He smiled and said, "It's all in the past. There's no need to mention it." Okay. Ji Yunhai nodded and took the teacup. He looked at the rippling tea and said, "Actually, what really made me want to betray was when I discovered that Neptune and the dragon god had the power of the origin." The king and heavenly lord Ji looked at each other. Speaking of this, they were also very angry. No matter what we do, it has always been us, the three major races, at the forefront. The sea race and the beast race have always been aloof and indifferent. But why should they be given the power of the origin and not us? The ruler is obviously biased. And it's not just a little. Ji Yunhai snorted coldly. Indeed. We're fighting at the front, while the sea race and the beast race are enjoying the fruits of our labor. In the end, they still get more than us. Heavenly Lord Ji nodded. At the end of the day, the ruler is treating the three races as cannon fodder. The king shook his head and sighed. You feel that way too? Ji Yunhai looked at the king in surprise. I'm not stupid. I've seen all these things. I just didn't dare to say it out loud. The king smiled. Ji Yunhai smiled and said, "It seems like my previous worries were unnecessary. I was afraid that you would hear my heartfelt words and blame me. Why would I? We're blood brothers." The king waved his hand and pondered for a while. He looked at Ji Yunhai and said, "There's one more thing that you might not know. Not only did the ruler give Neptune and the dragon god the power of the origin, he also ordered them to monitor us. If we do anything wrong, the two of them can use the power of the origin to kill us first and report later." What? Ji Yunhai was furious and said, "We've worked hard for the divine kingdom, and this is what we get in return?" The king and heavenly lord Ji looked at each other. It seemed that there were some things that didn't need to be said. Ji Yunhai calmed down the anger in his heart and looked at the father and son. "Since we've already said it, then I'll say it all. The ruler was unkind to us first, so he can't blame us for being unkind to him." "What do you mean?" Heavenly Lord Ji asked. "Betray the divine kingdom and fight for the benefits that we deserve. Similarly, only in this way can we change the fate of the purple gold divine dragon race. Our fate can't be controlled by others. We have to control it ourselves." Ji Yunhai clenched his fists. "You still want to betray us?" The monarch looked shocked. "The ruler has already treated us like this, and you still want to be loyal to him?" Big brother, this is blind loyalty, and it will harm our purple gold divine dragon race in the end. Ji Yunhai said angrily. The father and son looked at each other again, and a smile gradually appeared on their faces. I'm talking business with you, what are you laughing about? Ji Yunhai frowned. Chapter 4290. Second uncle, we're very happy that you can say such sincere words. Because at least it proves that you put the safety and fate of the purple gold divine dragon clan first in your heart. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled. Isn't that nonsense? I'm a member of the purple gold divine dragon clan. Of course I'll put the safety and fate of the entire clan first. So in your eyes, your second uncle is really a selfish person? Ji Yunhai rolled his eyes. No, no. Heavenly Lord Ji quickly waved his hand and sighed. You're right, but will Qin Feiyang cooperate with us? Yes. Definitely. Ji Yunhai nodded and said with certainty. Why? Heavenly Lord Ji was curious. Because the power of the purple gold divine dragon bloodline also flows in his body. Because he's Yu's descendant. Didn't you notice a problem? This time, the purple gold divine dragon clan, the human clan and the god clan invaded the sky cloud realm. However, after Qin Feiyang and the others entered the divine kingdom, they destroyed the sea race and the magical beast race first. As for our three races, although we suffered quite a bit, we didn't suffer much overall. Why is that? Ji Yunhai asked. Why? The father and son were puzzled. In fact, they knew in their hearts. Because the mermen and the beast clan are the ruler's confidants. Only by eliminating them can we truly weaken the ruler's strength. And didn't Qin Feiyang say in Qingtian City last time that we should abandon the dark side and join the light side? From this point, we can see that he has always been merciful to the three of us. In other words, he doesn't want to become a real enemy with us. And this matter must have something to do with you, Although you, betrayed the divine kingdom back then, based on my understanding of her, she definitely doesn't want Qin Feiyang and the others to fight to the death with the purple gold divine dragon clan. So I guess you, must have warned Qin Feiyang before. Ji Yunhai smiled. The monarch's expression froze. He could not help but seriously size up Ji Yunhai. This heart-to-heart talk, again and again, made him look at his younger brother in a new light. Ji Tianjun laughed inwardly. Father, you see? Second uncle isn't a fool. On the contrary, he's a very shrewd person. It's just that there hasn't been a stage for him to display his skills in recent years. Don't you just want to slack off? The monarch secretly glared at him. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled awkwardly. The monarch pondered for a moment, then raised his head to look at Ji Yunhai, and said with a smile, Then tell me about your current attitude towards Qin Feiyang. His attitude towards Qin Feiyang, Ji Yunhai thought for a while, then sighed and said, Right now, the most important thing is to admire. Admire? The monarch was taken aback. Yes. The law of life and death, the eye of heaven, these heaven-defying techniques are secondary. The main thing is that his mind is too sharp. In fact, it's not difficult to find out. Whether it's Frenzy, Golden-Winged Wolf King, or Mu Qin, these people, they all regard him as their leader. Sometimes, I even think how good it would be if he's really a descendant of our purple gold divine dragon clan. Ji Yunhai shook his head. He's our descendant. The monarch laughed. Huh? Ji Yunhai was stunned. Although there was indeed the implication of the bloodline power, at present, Qin Feiyang and the purple gold divine dragon clan did not have such a relationship. Second brother, since we've already said so, then there are some things that we won't hide from you anymore. The monarch smiled slightly. The smile on Ji Tianjuan's face was also quite bright. What is it? Ji Yunhai looked at the two of them suspiciously. Actually, the monarch glanced at Ji Tianjun, then looked at Ji Yunhai and said with a smile, "We've already cooperated with Qin Feiyang." "What?" Ji Yunhai suddenly stood up. His face was full of shock. "There's no need to be surprised. It's not just us. The Divine King and the human sovereign have also formed an alliance with Qin Feiyang." The monarch smiled. When did this happen?" Ji Yunhai was surprised. The monarch smiled and said, "I think it was when they first went to the village." "So early?" Ji Yunhai was stunned. "Actually, it wasn't my wish to form an alliance. It was grandfather and the others' decision. To tell you the truth, grandfather and the others have been dissatisfied with the sovereign and the central dynasty for a long time. As for why, you should know." The monarch smiled. "I know this. Because of my grandmother's death." Ji Yunhai nodded. "Yes. Furthermore, grandfather and the others have already seen the sovereign's true colors. If the purple gold divine dragon clan wants to go further, then we have to resist. However, don't misunderstand. When it came to the Eye of Destiny, they didn't have any intention of siding with Qin Feiyang and the others, because I was there at that time. Shaoyi's performance was indeed much worse than Dong Zhengyang's." The monarch sighed. "You don't have to explain. I believe that." Ji Yunhai shook his head and returned to his seat to calm himself down. "And Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. Do you know their true identities?" The monarch smiled and asked. "What identities?" Ji Yunhai was suspicious. The monarch said, "Lu Yuntian is Qin Feiyang's inner demons, and Lu Yunfeng is Qin Feiyang's cousin." "What?" Ji Yunhai stood up again and said in shock, "So, Lu Yunfeng and Lu Yunfeng are spies who infiltrated the central dynasty?" "That's right." The monarch nodded and smiled. "There's one more thing. Wait a moment. Let me digest this." Ji Yunhai hurriedly waved his hand. This news was too shocking. The Divine King, the sovereign of the human race, and his elder brother had formed an alliance with Qin Feiyang. Furthermore, it was the old men's idea. Looking at Heavenly Lord Ji's current attitude, it seemed that he had already known about this. In that case, what happened later, such as the destruction of the beast race and the sea race, and the defeat of Yu Lao and the others, were all related to his elder brother, the Divine King, the sovereign of the human race? As for Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng, one had mastered the law of life and death, comprehended the Demon King true body, and was extremely powerful. The other had the Eye of Nothingness, one of the 10 most powerful battle souls, and his strength could not be underestimated. He thought that these two would become the biggest enemies of Qin Feiyang and the others, but in the end, he was told that they were both Qin Feiyang's men. The most important thing was, the two had already infiltrated the central dynasty. It was too terrifying. It turned out that all of this had long been under the control of Qin Feiyang and the others. No wonder the people sent by the central dynasty fell in their hands one after another. Just think about it. If it were you, surrounded by Qin Feiyang's men, how could you not fail? After a long time, Ji Yunhai took a deep breath, looked at the king, and said, "Elder brother, tell me." The king smiled and said, "I know that the elixir that opened the gate of potential and the ultimate meaning of fusion, where did they come from?" Ji Yunhai was stunned and said in surprise, "Could it be, that's right. They were all given to us by Qin Feiyang." The king nodded. Gasp. Ji Yunhai immediately took a breath of cold air. When he opened the gate of potential, he also thought that the biggest possibility was that it came from the central dynasty. But who would have thought that it was given to him by Qin Feiyang? It was really unexpected. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled and said, "Second uncle, there's another good news." "There's more?" Ji Yunhai was slightly stunned and frowned. "How many more things are you hiding from me? Don't be angry. This concerns the fate of the purple gold divine dragon race. We have to be careful. The alliance with Qin Feiyang, in the past, only my father, the God King, the human race's utmost exalt, and my great-grandfather knew about it. We didn't even tell that good-for-nothing son of mine. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled apologetically. Then I'm not an outsider. Ji Yunhai frowned. Of course you're not an outsider, but you used to hate Qin Feiyang to the core. Would we dare to tell you? Heavenly Lord Ji smiled bitterly. Ji Yunhai fell silent. Based on his attitude towards Qin Feiyang in the past, it was reasonable for him to be wary of him. Wait. Are you and your father testing my attitude by having a heart-to-heart talk with me today? Ji Yunhai frowned. Yes. The two of them did not deny it. Because it was obvious. If they denied it, it would be more hypocritical. Ji Yunhai's face darkened and he said angrily, if my attitude towards Qin Feiyang is the same as before, will you continue to hide it from me? Of course. The father and son nodded. The corner of Ji Yunhai's mouth twitched. They really didn't hide it at all. The good news I'm going to tell you now has nothing to do with Qin Feiyang. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled and turned to look at the king. The king nodded with a dark face. Heavenly Lord Ji was delighted. He looked at Ji Yunhai and said, my father and I want you to temporarily be the leader of the purple gold divine dragons. What? Ji Yunhai stood up again and looked at Heavenly Lord Ji in shock. What was the father and son doing today? Don't overreact. I'll tell you in detail. Heavenly Lord Ji comforted Ji Yunhai and then told him about faking his death in detail. I see. Ji Yunhai nodded in realization, and said in a deep voice, looks like my decision was correct. Right now, Dong Qingyuan will make a move against Lu Yunfeng and his brother's relatives. Although these relatives are all fake, it is enough to prove their viciousness. In the future, it is hard to guarantee that they won't make a move against our purple gold divine dragon clan. That's right. Those people from the central dynasty only have themselves in their eyes. Like us, they'll use us when we're valuable. When we lose our value, they'll probably abandon us like dirt. Heavenly Lord Ji shook his head and sighed. But, are you confident? The central dynasty's strength has always been unfathomable. Ji Yunhai was worried. We'll know the power of the central dynasty soon. As for whether we're a match for them, second uncle, we still don't know who's stronger in the real battle. Heavenly Lord Ji smirked. What plans do you have? Ji Yunhai looked at the confident Heavenly Lord Ji and couldn't help but ask. Qin Feiyang gave our three races 3,000 ultimate profundities of ultimate laws. As long as we use these 3,000 ultimate profundities of ultimate laws to the greatest effect, our three races will be able to nurture at least 6,000 experts with the will of the heavenly way. And Qin Feiyang isn't idle either. He's also cultivating the people around him. Not to mention the others, just the 6,000 dark guards around him will be a terrifying army as long as they have the will of the great path. Heavenly Lord Ji said. Ji Yunhai's heart trembled. It turned out that Qin Feiyang had been secretly preparing for a rainy day. It seemed that overthrowing the Lord's rule wasn't completely hopeless. Second brother, this is what we're going to talk about today. Now, you're also an insider. You can't reveal any flaws. And remember, you can't reveal this to anyone, not even your grandson Ji Shaoi. Do you understand? The king warned. Understood. Ji Yunhai nodded. Anyone who wasn't a fool knew how serious this matter was. Once it was exposed, not only the purple gold divine dragons, but also the human race and the god race would be destroyed. Chapter 4291. Dong. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. The king and the other two looked at each other. Who would come looking for them in the middle of the night? The king waved his hand and the soundproof barrier dissipated. The three of them adjusted their emotions and leaned back in their seats. Who is it? The king asked. Sir, it's me. A familiar voice sounded. It was old Wu. What is this old thing doing here in the middle of the night? Heavenly Lord Ji raised his eyebrows. Who knows? The king shrugged. Should I leave for a while? Ji Yunhai asked secretly. Why should I leave? The king sneered and said, Come in. The door opened and a red-haired old man rushed in. Who else could it be but old Wu? Seeing that Ji Yunhai was also there, old Wu was stunned. When he came back to his senses, he said with a smile, Brother Yunhai is also here. Yes. I'm reporting some clan affairs to Big Brother. Ji Yunhai nodded. Heavenly Lord Ji had mentioned that old Wu was a spy before, but at this moment, Ji Yunhai didn't have any hostility towards old Wu. It's so late and you're still reporting affairs. Brother Yunhai, you're really working hard. Old Wu smiled hoarsely. Look at what you're saying. As a direct descendant of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan, it's my duty to work for the clan. Ji Yunhai waved his hand and smiled. He said suspiciously, but you came here in the middle of the night. What's the matter? Yes. Old Wu nodded and said in a deep voice, just a while ago, a video suddenly spread in the 4 continents. Video? The king and the other two looked at each other and understood. It must be the video that old Wu recorded in Blue Sun Mountain. What video? The king was puzzled. Old Wu took out the divine voice stone and waved his hand. A video slowly unfolded in the void. It was indeed the scene that happened in Blue Sun Mountain. What's going on? Who recorded this video? Heavenly Lord Ji was shocked and quickly asked. I don't know. I also just received this video. And there's a rumor that the 3 people in Blue Sun Mountain are Lu Yuntian and Ling Yunfei's father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. Old Wu said. He was present at the scene and naturally knew that the Qin Feiyang in the video was Heavenly Lord Ji impersonating him. However, he definitely wouldn't dare to say it in front of Heavenly Lord Ji. This was because neither the king nor Heavenly Lord Ji had told him that Heavenly Lord Ji had impersonated Qin Feiyang. Therefore, if old Wu expressed that he knew about this, it would be equivalent to admitting that Dong Laifu was involved. In short, regardless of whether it was the monarch's trio or old Wu, they were all playing dumb. What? Lu Yuntian's father, grandfather, great-grandfather? They actually have living relatives. The monarch was surprised. I've just received this news. I'm quite surprised as well. Moreover, they are all hidden experts who have grasped the will of the heavenly Tao. Old Wu nodded. No wonder he could raise such an outstanding son. However, this Qin Feiyang is really crazy. He actually went to kill their relatives. This time, Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng will definitely go crazy. The king sighed. Yes. Old Wu nodded. The monarch waved his hand and said, All right, we already know about this matter. Keep an eye on the situation outside at all times. Okay. Old Wu responded respectfully and turned to leave the hall. Heavenly Lord Ji snorted coldly. This has already caused an uproar. I really didn't expect this old man to be so efficient. The news was spread by old Wu's arrangement. Don't worry. The bigger this matter is now, the harder it will be to clean it up. Send a message to Qin Feiyang and the others. We can start the operation now. The monarch smiled coldly. Okay. Heavenly Lord Ji nodded. As for old Wu, after returning to his residence, he immediately took out the divine voice stone. Buzz. Soon, 2 figures appeared. They were Dong Qingyuan and Dong Laifu. Greetings, Lord. Old Wu bowed respectfully to Dong Qingyuan. Yes. Dong Qingyuan nodded and asked, How's the task I assigned to you? Don't worry, Lord. The news has already spread in the 4 great continents. Old Wu responded respectfully. Good. Dong Qingyuan smiled satisfactorily. Dong Laifu's eyes flashed. He looked at old Wu and asked, "Did you go to the monarch and the others?" "Yes." When the monarch and heavenly Lord Ji heard this, they pretended not to know. Old Wu nodded. "They didn't even tell you the truth. It seems that they are really tight-lipped." Dong Lifu chuckled. "That's right." Dong Lifu deliberately arranged for old Wu to meet the monarch. He wanted to sound out the monarch and heavenly Lord Ji. Because old Wu was the monarch's confidant, the monarch might tell old Wu the truth. The so-called Qin Feiyang was heavenly Lord Ji in disguise. But the monarch and heavenly Lord Ji didn't mention a word before. Dong Lifu was completely relieved. After all, if the monarch and heavenly Lord Ji didn't even tell a confidant like old Wu, they wouldn't tell anyone else. "Now, let's wait for a good show." Dong Qingyuan chuckled. His old eyes were full of playfulness. At the same time, Black Tortoise whirled. Qin Feiyang and the other two also received heavenly Lord Ji's message. Hearing the words "can start the operation," the corners of their mouths lifted slightly. Moreover, they also chatted with Ji Yunhai officially as allies. At first, Ji Yunhai was still not used to this kind of relationship. Although he agreed to form an alliance with Qin Feiyang and the others, so many things had happened in the past. There must be some estrangement in his heart. It would probably take some time for this estrangement to completely disappear. Frenzy shook his head and said, "To be honest, Ji Yunhai's attitude really surprised me." "Yes." White-eyed Wolf nodded. After pondering for a while, he frowned and said, "But, can Ji Yunhai really be trusted? Since the monarch and heavenly Lord Ji already believe him, then we don't need to doubt him anymore. Moreover, the monarch and heavenly Lord Ji aren't stupid. They won't do things that they aren't confident in." Qin Feiyang smiled. "I definitely believe the monarch and uncle. But this Ji Yunhai, although he has formed an alliance with us now, what if he suddenly changes his stance in the future?" White-eyed Wolf was a bit worried. Hearing this, Frenzy couldn't help but frown. White-eyed Wolf's concern wasn't without reason. After all, Ji Yunhai wasn't the monarch, nor was he the divine king or the supreme of the human race. His stance might not be so firm. "I think I'm already suspicious enough. I didn't expect you guys to be even more suspicious than me. Do you still remember what we said before we gave the monarch and the others the 3,000 ultimate mysteries? We must control these people. Ji Yunhai is definitely no exception. After all, Ji Yunhai's attitude wasn't clear in the past. The monarch definitely wouldn't be at ease with him." Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. "You mean, Ji Yunhai is now controlled by the monarch?" White-eyed Wolf asked. "I don't think it's possible. I believe the monarch can control others, but to control Ji Yunhai, they are brothers after all." Frenzy said. "You're underestimating the monarch. As the monarch of the divine kingdom, how could he be an indecisive person? Moreover, whether it's the pill to unlock the door of potential or the 1,000 ultimate mysteries, they are all related to the fate of the purple gold divine dragon clan. Would he dare to be careless? Even if he dares, that group of old men won't allow it." Qin Feiyang smiled. "That's true. Those old men are all ruthless people." White-eyed Wolf and Frenzy nodded. Qin Feiyang said, "Then get ready to move. First, send a message to the supreme of the human race and find out where Dong Lifu lives." Indeed, as Ji Yunhai said, Dong Qingyuan and Dong Lifu were now surrounded by Qin Feiyang's people. It would be hard for them not to win. "What? All of this was a trap set up by you guys?" When the supreme of the human race heard this, his face was full of surprise. "You didn't know about this?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "I didn't know. Dong Lifu and Dong Qingyuan never said anything about this. I only found out about Heavenly Lord Ji going to Blue Sun Mountain just now." The supreme of the human race shook his head. "Looks like they've done a good job of keeping it a secret." Qin Feiyang smiled. "They're all ruthless people. The supreme of the human race sighed. He looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two and said, Dong Laifu and Dong Qingyuan both live in the back of Mount Supreme. I'll tell you the route and location. But when the time comes, you have to be gentle. Mount Supreme can't take your torment anymore. We will. The three nodded. Why do I feel like I'm the plague in the eyes of the supreme of the human race? Actually, they didn't want to go to Mount Supreme either. But there was nothing they could do. After all, Dong Qingyuan and Dong Qingyuan lived in Mount Supreme. Just as the supreme of the human race told Qin Feiyang and the other two the exact route and location, an angry roar suddenly sounded from Mount Supreme. Qin Feiyang, how dare you kill my family? I'll kill you and make you pay with your blood. It was the roar of the inner demons. Then, two terrifying murderous auras suddenly exploded, shocking everyone. One was the inner demons, the other was Lu Jejin. The supreme of the human race looked outside the window and smiled at Qin Feiyang and the other two. The show is about to start. I'll go out and take a look. Don't come over for now, because Dong Laifu must be with Dong Qingyuan right now. Okay. Let them be proud for a few days. Qin Feiyang nodded, his eyes full of ridicule. Dong Qingyuan, you want to play, right? Fine, I'm in a good mood now. I'll play with you. Chapter 4292. The transmission ended. The ingrate muttered to himself for a while. He looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion and asked, I have a question that has always puzzled me. Why don't we just find a chance to kill Dong Qingyuan? Why do we have to go through so much trouble? He didn't believe that Dong Qingyuan would hide in Mount Supreme forever. Furthermore, even if Dong Qingyuan was hiding in Mount Supreme forever, Mount Supreme wouldn't be able to protect Dong Qingyuan. Killing him directly wouldn't be effective. Qin Feiyang smiled. What effect? The white-eyed wolf was surprised. Do you think I'm going through so much trouble just to kill Dong Laifu and Old Man Wu? Qin Feiyang turned to look at the ingrate and said with a smile. The white-eyed wolf paused for a bit and asked curiously, what other plans do you have? Last time, Dong Tianxin used the nation lord to threaten the central dynasty. Think about it, if the world knew that Dong Qingyuan killed brother Lu Yuntian's family in order to achieve his goal, how would the people of the four great continents react? Qin Feiyang said with a mocking expression. The mad demon and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and realized what was going on. They were planning to ruin the central dynasty's reputation. Indeed. Last time, Dong Tianxin used the king as a hostage, which already made the three races unhappy. If this matter was exposed again, the central dynasty's reputation would definitely plummet. This way, the king and the others would have a better foundation to fight against the central dynasty in the future. That's why we have to make a big deal out of this. The bigger the deal, the better the effect. Qin Feiyang smiled. Cunning. Heard. The white-eyed wolf and the mad demon looked at Qin Feiyang with disdain, but their faces were full of cunning smiles. At the same time, Mount Supreme. The human race put away the message God stone and quickly walked outside. He looked at the inner demons and Lu Jiajin from afar. Both of them were filled with murderous intent. Please calm down. The human race's eyes flashed and comforted them. Calm down? Even Qin Feiyang went to Mount Xingyang and killed all of our loved ones. How do you expect us to calm down? Pass down the order immediately. Whoever can find them will be rewarded with a Dominator divine weapon. The inner demons roared. Sovereign weapon. Hearing this, all the disciples on Mount Supreme were tempted. We'll do our best. The supreme martial artist of the human race nodded and laughed in his heart. These two brats were also good actors. Their acting was quite good. Inform us immediately if there's any news. The inner demons opened a space-time tunnel. Where are you going? The supreme master of the human race hurriedly asked. We can't just wait here. The inner demon looked at him gloomily and followed Lu Jiajin into the space-time tunnel without looking back. Very soon, another piece of news spread throughout the 4 great continents. Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng arrived at Qingtian City and declared war on Qin Feiyang and the others. Mount Supreme, Back Mountain. Dong Qingyuan chuckled. The effect is not bad. Yes. This time, the 2 brothers will definitely fight to the death with Qin Feiyang and the others. Let's just wait and watch a good show. Dong Lifu nodded. His face was also full of a smug smile. This was the plan he came up with. It was simply perfect. No matter how smart Qin Feiyang was, he probably couldn't do anything about it. In the blink of an eye. 3 days passed. These 3 days were quite lively. Everyone's eyes were gathered on Qingtian City. Because the inner demons and Lu Jiajin had been standing in the sky above Qingtian City. Their terrifying auras enveloped heaven and earth, making the atmosphere here seem particularly heavy. Everyone was looking forward to whether Qin Feiyang and the others would come to fight or not. Logically speaking, Qin Feiyang and the others were extremely powerful. It was impossible for them to be afraid of Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. Moreover, since Qin Feiyang dared to go to Mount Xingyang to kill Lu Yunfeng and Lu Yunfeng's family, he definitely wouldn't be afraid to fight. But it had already been 3 days, why hadn't he appeared yet? Just on this night, 3 black figures sneaked into the back of Mount Supreme without anyone noticing. The entrance of the back mountain was guarded. But even so, no one discovered them. Because these 3 people were Qin Feiyang, Frenzy, and White-Eyed Wolf. They didn't discover them because they had activated the concealment technique and were in a state of invisibility. As long as their invisibility wasn't broken, even if they were standing in front of you, you wouldn't be able to sense their existence. The environment of the back mountain was also very good. Green mountains and clear waters, green plants and trees. A lake was located in the hinterland of the back mountain. The lake water rippled under the moonlight. At this time, it was late at night. The slightest noise would alarm others, so Qin Feiyang and the others were very careful. Around the lake, there were exquisite pavilions with an antique style. These pavilions were located in the hinterland of the back mountain. They were specially set up for VIPs. Ordinary people didn't have the qualifications to step into the back mountain even if they wanted to. At this moment, among these pavilions, there were only 6 that had candlelight flickering. These 6 pavilions were where Dong Qingyuan, Dong Lifu, Dong Tianqian, Dong Xian, Dong Ping, and Dong Qin lived. The inner demons and Lu Jiajin also lived here. But now they were in Qingtian City, so the house was pitch black. According to the human race's supreme being, Dong Lifu lived next door to Dong Qingyuan. Dong Tianqian, Dong Xian, and Dong Ping lived on the other side. As for Dong Qin, Dong Tianqian and the others naturally couldn't continue to live with her now. And Dong Qin was also worried that Dong Tianqian and the others would harm her. After all, a few days ago, she set them up in front of Dong Qingyuan and Dong Lifu. So, she also lived next door to Dong Lifu. In this case, even if Dong Tianqian and the others wanted to take revenge on her, they would have some reservations. Although it was their first time coming to the back mountain, Qin Feiyang and the others were very familiar with the human race's supreme being. After a while, they arrived in front of Dong Lifu's pavilion. The door of the pavilion was closed. They could vaguely sense Dong Lifu's aura. The 3 of them raised their heads and looked at a window on the 2nd floor. The candlelight came from this window. Dong Lifu's aura was also in that room. This old thing, I'm afraid he would never think that we would be so bold as to directly sneak into the back mountain of Mount Supreme. The white-eyed wolf snickered. He definitely wouldn't think of it. Even if it were us, we wouldn't think of it either. Lunatic bared his teeth. After all, this was Mount Supreme, the sacred land of the human race. No matter how strong or bold he was, he wouldn't dare to break in here. Let's go in. Quickly take him down, don't make any noise. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. Understood. The two of them nodded. After all, the human race's supreme being had told them not to make a fuss here. So, the three of them entered the Black Tortoise realm and stealthily entered the room through the crack of the window on the second floor. Everything in the room immediately entered the three's line of sight. The decoration inside was quite luxurious. Every piece of furniture was made of 10,000-year-old Fibijianan wood. Even the candlesticks were made of pure gold. As expected of a place used to entertain distinguished guests. In the middle of the room, there was a praying mat. A black-robed old man was squatting on the praying mat with his eyes closed, not noticing that someone had intruded. It was Dong Laifu. And on the ground, Qin Feiyang and the other two could clearly sense the aura of the time array. Obviously, Dong Laifu was here to reconstruct his soul and body. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he took out an illusory form pill and quickly changed into Dong Qingyuan's appearance. Cough cough, then. He cleared his throat, looked at the two of them, and laughed hoarsely, "I'll go out alone." Even his voice was exactly the same as Dong Qingyuan's. All right. The two of them nodded with a smirk. Qin Feiyang took a step forward and immediately appeared in the room. Dong Laifu was slightly stunned. He opened his eyes and looked at Dong Qingyuan in front of him. Why did his lord come to his room silently? Greetings, lord. He hurriedly stood up and bowed in greeting. Let's go. Follow me to a place. Qin Feiyang said hoarsely. Where are we going? Dong Laifu was suspicious. It must be a secret place, otherwise why would I come to find you quietly? Qin Feiyang laughed. All right. Dong Laifu nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, rolled up Dong Laifu, and instantly disappeared without a trace. The entire process was very smooth. Dong Qingyuan and Dong Qin next door were completely unaware. Black Tortoise Realm. Inside the castle. Dong Laifu stood in the cultivation room in a daze, looking at the cultivation room, and asked suspiciously, "My lord, what is this place? It doesn't seem to be your space divine object." Qin Feiyang chuckled, "Of course this is not your lord's space divine object." When Dong Laifu heard this, he immediately stared at Qin Feiyang. Because at this moment, Qin Feiyang's voice was no longer concealed, and Dong Laifu was extremely familiar with it. At this moment, the stone door of the cultivation room opened, and the madman and the white-eyed wolf also ran in. The moment he saw the two of them, Dong Laifu's expression changed. That's right. This is my, Qin Feiyang's space divine object. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth raised, and he took a facial restoration pill, immediately restoring his true appearance. Damn it. Dong Laifu's eyes trembled, and he hurriedly rushed towards the stone door in horror. You still want to escape after coming here? The white-eyed wolf waved his hand, and the stone door immediately closed. Looking at the closed stone door, Dong Laifu suddenly felt despair to the extreme. You guys take good care of this guest first. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Laifu with a playful smile, and then instantly appeared in the medicine field, and then controlled the Black Tortoise realm, ready to leave the back mountain. But suddenly, he lowered his head again and pondered. Since he had already come to the back mountain, should he also take Dong Qin away? In this way, it could be considered as solving a problem for Dong Tianqian and the other two. Let's do it. He immediately controlled the Black Tortoise realm and flew to Dong Qin's attic. It was also on the second floor. Dong Qin sat alone by the bed, looking at a jade pendant in her hand, her eyes full of longing. This jade pendant was the size of a baby's palm, completely flawless, and was fiery red. There were 2 words engraved on it, Han Sect. Really infatuated. Qin Feiyang muttered, and used the same trick again, turning into Dong Qingyuan's appearance, and appeared in the room with a swoosh. "Master?" Dong Qin was taken aback, and hurriedly got up and bowed. "Are you used to it?" Qin Feiyang said with a kind smile. "Thank you for your concern, Master. I'm used to it." Dong Qin nodded. Chapter 4293. Qin Feiyang looked at the jade pendant in Dong Qin's hand and sighed, "Follow me to a place." "What place?" Dong Qin was suspicious. "As your teacher, I know Dong Tianxin's character too well. This time you offended them, they won't let you go so easily. So, you should stay in my spatial divine item, it will be safer." Qin Feiyang said. "Thank you, teacher." Dong Qin was overjoyed. As long as she could enter her teacher's spatial divine item, Dong Tianxin and the other two wouldn't have a chance to kill her. "Is there anything you need to pack?" Qin Feiyang asked. Dong Qin looked at the jade pendant in her hand and shook her head, "No." Qin Feiyang faintly smiled. With a wave of his hand, Dong Qin also instantly disappeared without a trace. "I really have the talent to be a movie king." Qin Feiyang smirked and immediately entered the Black Tortoise realm. Then, he controlled the Black Tortoise realm and quietly left. In the cultivation room, Dong Laifu had been tortured to death by the white-eyed wolf. But suddenly, another figure appeared. The two of them were stunned and turned their heads to look. Their expressions froze. Why would this woman come to the cultivation room? That's right. This woman was Dong Qin. At the same time, Dong Qin looked at the madman and the white-eyed wolf and couldn't help but be stunned. What's going on? Isn't this teacher's spatial divine item? Why are these two guys here too? Uncle Fu? When she saw Dong Laifu, her expression froze again. Why were you tricked by them? Dong Laifu shouted. Tricked? Dong Qin's delicate body trembled and immediately looked at the madman and the white-eyed wolf. With a glance, her expression changed. The madman and the white-eyed wolf were pouncing towards her. Get lost! She suddenly roared and her aura surged out. However, it was still a step too late. The white-eyed wolf's palm hit Dong Qin's lower abdomen. Accompanied by a scream, Dong Qin's sea of qi shattered on the spot and she spat out a mouthful of blood. You still want to cause trouble in the Black Tortoise realm? The madman looked at her mockingly. This is the Black Tortoise realm? Dong Qin's eyes trembled, her face deathly pale. That's right. Right now, we are in the Black Tortoise realm. This is Qin Feiyang's spatial divine item. Dong Laifu exclaimed. Who would have thought that someone who had been smart all his life would be foolish at this moment? He was actually deceived by such a small trick. What a great humiliation. Outside. A moment passed. Qin Feiyang successfully left Mount Supreme. To him, capturing the two powerhouses was a piece of cake. After all, he had the help of the human race's supreme being. Following closely, he went to Qingtian City. However, he didn't show himself. He just watched from afar. Some time ago, Dong Tianxin's group of 4 had fought the mad scientist and the white-eyed wolf, destroying the entire Qingtian City. However, after the battle, it had been rebuilt. Moreover, the scale was even larger than before. At this moment, Qin Feiyang could clearly sense that the number of people gathered in Qingtian City was much greater than before. Obviously, many people were here to join in the fun. In the sky, the inner demons and Lu Jiajin had always been filled with hostility. Ordinary people didn't dare to approach them. After watching for a while, Qin Feiyang quietly left and entered the Black Tortoise realm. Although only a short while had passed outside, many years had passed in the Black Tortoise realm. The white-eyed wolf and the mad scientist were drinking in the tea garden. Why aren't you guys keeping an eye on the cultivation room? Qin Feiyang frowned. The white-eyed wolf said in disdain, Dong Qin's Qi has been destroyed and her Qiankuan ring has been confiscated by us. Needless to say, Dong Laifu only has a little bit of his soul left. Do you still need us to keep an eye on him? I see. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood and asked curiously, then did you find anything valuable in her Qiankuan ring? For example? The white-eyed wolf asked back. For example, the inheritance of the ultimate profound. Qin Feiyang said. You always say that we're money grubbers, but I think you're the money grubber. There's no inheritance, but there's a lot of law miniatures. They're not valuable. The white-eyed wolf pursed his lips. Qin Feiyang was stunned. The law miniatures were not valuable? This guy was really arrogant. Did he forget how many cruel battles they went through to snatch the law miniatures in the Sky Bell Divine Treasury? These things could be left to the beings of the Black Tortoise Realm because to the beings of the Black Tortoise Realm, they were priceless treasures. Give all the useful things to the Fire Lotus. Qin Feiyang said. Got it. I've already given them to her. The white-eyed wolf waved his hand. Then let's go and meet Dong Qin and Dong Laifu. I really want to know what they were plotting with Dong Qingyuan in the hall. A radiant light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes as he strode towards the ancient castle. They entered the cultivation room. The three of them saw Dong Laifu sitting in the corner. He didn't even have the mood to reconstruct his body and divine soul. His face was filled with despair. Dong Qin kept her head down and looked at the jade pendant in her hand. Her eyes were empty. What's there to look at? The white-eyed wolf stepped forward and snatched the jade pendant. He mocked, no matter how you look at it, Dong Hanzong is a lonely soul and he won't come to save you. Give it back to me. Dong Qin immediately got up and pounced on the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf kicked Dong Qin and she was sent flying. She slammed into the wall and blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. But she was unaware of all this. She immediately got up and pounced on the white-eyed wolf, as if the jade pendant was the only thing in her eyes. You care so much? Believe it or not, I'll crush it right now. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Don't. Dong Qin's expression stiffened and she quickly stopped and begged, don't destroy it. I beg you, give it back to me. Sigh. Looking at Dong Qin's appearance, Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. He looked at the white-eyed wolf and said, give it back to her. The white-eyed wolf pursed his lips and threw the jade pendant to Dong Qin. Dong Qin hurriedly grabbed it and looked left, right, up and down. After confirming that it was not damaged, she carefully put it in her arms. The madman frowned and said, I don't believe that you don't know what kind of person Dong Hanzong is. Is such a man really worth your sacrifice? Even at the expense of offending Dong Tianqian? You emotionless, cold-blooded animals won't understand. Dong Qin sneered. We are emotionless, cold-blooded animals? The madman and the white-eyed wolf heard this and couldn't help but want to laugh. In terms of feelings, who could compare with them? They were both men who were loyal to their feelings. Dong Qin looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two as if she was facing death calmly and said, since I've fallen into your hands, I admit defeat. You can kill me or torture me as you wish. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed with murderous intent and slapped her. Dong Qin's expression didn't change at all. It seems that it won't be easy to pry open her mouth. The white-eyed wolf retracted his arm and looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Laifu. His mouth is also very stubborn. After torturing him for so long, he still didn't say anything. The white-eyed wolf was helpless. I still have this bit of backbone. Dong Laifu looked at the three of them ferociously. Qin Feiyang glanced at the two and said with a faint smile, do you think that I can't do anything to you if you don't speak? The two's pupils shrank. Qin Feiyang turned to the white-eyed wolf and said with a smile, go and invite Longchen here. Okay. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth and turned to leave quickly. When Dong Lifu heard that he was going to invite Long Chen, his body suddenly trembled and he quickly said, "Wait." He had long known that Long Chen had mastered the soul-controlling technique and could control living creatures and deprive them of the ultimate profound. Once he was really controlled by Long Chen, he would definitely not be able to keep the ultimate profound that he had mastered. "Are you willing to speak?" The white-eyed wolf turned his head and looked at him mockingly. "I'll speak, I'll tell you everything," Dong Lifu nodded. "Huh, I thought how tough your bones were." The white-eyed wolf laughed loudly, full of ridicule. Dong Lifu lowered his head in shame and said weakly, "But you have to promise me that you won't kill me and you won't deprive me of the ultimate profound." The white-eyed wolf was stunned and said playfully, "Do you think that you are still qualified to negotiate with us now?" Dong Lifu was silent. Since he had already fallen into the hands of these people, how could he be qualified to negotiate? However, if he wanted to live, he had to put forward these conditions. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Lifu for a moment, and laughed. "I don't want to trouble Long Chen with everything. As long as you answer my questions truthfully, I can consider giving you a way out." "Thank you. Ask away. I'll tell you everything I know," Dong Lifu said. Dong Qin stared at Dong Lifu and said angrily, "You coward." Hearing this, Dong Lifu's face suddenly became incomparably ferocious, and roared, "If you want to die, then die by yourself, don't implicate me." "Haha, this is the person that teacher trusts, how ridiculous. Even a dog knows how to be loyal. You're even worse than a dog." Dong Qin laughed. Dong Lifu stared at Dong Qin with a hateful look. But suddenly, for some reason, a smile crawled onto his face as he looked at Dong Qin and said, "Do you think Dong Hanzong will really come to save you? Let me tell you, he doesn't have the guts." "Shut up." When Dong Qin heard this, she immediately roared at Dong Lifu, and glanced at Qin Feiyang and the other two, looking rather flustered. Qin Feiyang and the other two were stunned. What did that mean? Dong Hanzong had already become a lonely ghost. How could he still come to save Dong Qin? Dong Lifu looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two, then looked at Dong Qin and sneered, "You don't want me to say it, right? I will say it. You dare." Dong Qin roared and pounced towards Dong Lifu crazily. The white-eyed wolf's face sank. He took a step forward, grabbed Dong Qin's arm, and threw her to the side, and said in a deep voice, "Let me tell you, if you dare to pester endlessly, I will destroy you. Come on, do you think I'm afraid of you?" Dong Qin moved closer. "You're really challenging my limits." The white-eyed wolf's killing intent soared, and with a kick, the power of law surged, causing Dong Qin to scream miserably. Her body shattered on the spot, and blood dyed the entire training room red. "You better remember, we are not Dong Ping. Killing you is as easy as crushing an ant." Madman looked at Dong Qin and said, "My jade pendant." Dong Qin's soul hurriedly searched the ground, but after searching the entire training room, she could not find the jade pendant. It seemed that it had been destroyed along with her body. At this moment, she collapsed on the ground, her face filled with pain. Chapter 4294. Courting Death. The white-eyed wolf looked at Dong Qin with a cold smile, then looked at Dong Lifu and said, "What do you mean by that?" "Dong Hanzong is not dead," Dong Lifu said. "What?" The eyes of Qin Feiyang and the other two trembled. They were the ones who killed Dong Hanzong with their own hands. The dozen or so divine souls that were split out were all killed by them. How could he not be dead? Could it be, did Mu Qing miss something? Dong Hanzong is a very careful and shrewd person. When he left the Central Dynasty, he had secretly left a divine soul behind. Dong Lifu said. This, Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other and frowned. The divine soul that he left behind in the Central Divine Kingdom, even we didn't know about it at first. He even hid it from Dong Qin. Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian naturally didn't know about it. Dong Lifu explained. The white-eyed wolf frowned and said, "In other words, we spent so much effort to kill him, but in the end, it was all a waste of time?" "That's right." Dong Lifu nodded. "That bastard." The white-eyed wolf was furious. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but clench his fists and sighed, "It seems that we still underestimated him. He is indeed a difficult opponent." The madman nodded, then frowned and said in confusion, "Since he left a divine soul in the central dynasty, why did he run to the village to ask Boss Ji for help? And he even spent so much effort to split out a dozen divine souls? He's just putting on a show." Dong Lifu said. "Acting?" The madman was stunned. "That's right. He did this to create an illusion that he didn't leave a divine soul in the central dynasty to save his life. This way, you won't have to be on guard against him in the future. When the time comes, he will suddenly appear and catch you off guard." Dong Lifu explained. "Damn. This person is more than just a little sinister." The three were shocked. Dong Lifu wasn't exaggerating at all. If they hadn't found out now, Dong Hanzong would have suddenly attacked them when they were in danger, and they wouldn't have been able to react in time. How terrifying, whether it was Qin Feiyang, the mad scientist, or the white-eyed wolf, all of them were wary of Dong Hanzong. This person was too shrewd. Moreover, he was so cautious that he even kept Dong Qin in the dark. "Who?" Taking a deep breath, Qin Feiyang asked, then, "What were you and Dong Qingyuan plotting with Dong Tianchen and the others in the main hall the last time they were separated from Lu Yuntian, Lu Yunfeng, and the ruler?" Dong Lifu thought back for a moment and said, "At that time, we were talking about Dong Hanzong's survival in the hall." "I see." Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. No wonder he sent eldest cousin and the others away. If it were him, he definitely wouldn't tell such a big thing to someone he didn't trust. Bastard. Dong Tianchen, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian didn't tell us such important information? The white-eyed wolf suddenly roared. "Why would they tell you?" "Because this matter is also beneficial to them. At that time, if Dong Hanzong is able to successfully launch a sneak attack on you all and kill you all, then your control over them will naturally be resolved," Dong Lifu said. The white-eyed wolf was taken aback and sneered, "It seems that they have a lot of tricks up their sleeves. I told you, these three can't be left alive." The mad scientist's eyes flashed with killing intent. "I didn't plan to let them live." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a cold light. He originally planned to kill these three when the ruler of the Divine Kingdom returned. But now it seemed that he had to deal with them as soon as possible. Otherwise, they would become a disaster sooner or later. Qin Feiyang asked, "Then tell me, how many people does Dong Qingyuan have in the Death God Army?" "You even know about the Death God Army?" Dong Lifu looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. The mad scientist sneered, "Dong Tianchen is already under our control. How can this kind of thing be hidden from us?" Dong Lifu nodded and shook his head. "I don't know the exact number of the Death God Army." "You don't know?" The three were stunned. Their eyes were as sharp as blades, emitting a shocking sharpness. "I'm not lying. I really don't know." Dong Lifu hurriedly waved his hand and explained, "The Death God Army is very mysterious. In the entire Central Dynasty, other than the ruler, the emperor, and Dong Qingyuan, no one else knows about it." "But aren't you Dong Qingyuan's confidant?" The white-eyed wolf frowned. "I am Dong Qingyuan's confidant, but the emperor has clearly ordered that no one else knows about the Death God Army. Dong Qingyuan doesn't dare to disobey the emperor's orders. Therefore, every time Dong Qingyuan went to meet the members of the Death God Legion, he went alone." Dong Lifu explained. So mysterious, Qin Feiyang and the other two could not help but frown. They thought that they would be able to find out about the Death God Army by capturing Dong Lifu alive. But now it seemed that they still needed the inner demons and big cousin. Furthermore, even if Dong Qingyuan had removed his guard against the inner demons and big cousin, it would not be that easy to find out about the Death God army. After all, Dong Qingyuan did not even reveal a word to Dong Laifu, his confidant. It seems that in order to sneak into the Death God army or come into contact with the Death God army, the emperor has to agree. Dong Qingyuan doesn't have the final say. The inner demons and big cousin, this is a difficult task. The white-eyed wolf sighed. What kind of terrifying army was this? Why did they have to be so secretive? Let's take it slow. Qin Feiyang sighed inwardly. He looked at the two of them and said, "Do you have any other questions?" The white-eyed wolf lowered his head and pondered for a while. Suddenly, there was a trace of a sneaky smile in his eyes. He looked at Dong Laifu and said, "Does your emperor have a daughter?" N. Dong Laifu looked at the white-eyed wolf in astonishment. Qin Feiyang and Frenzy also looked at him suspiciously. Why did he suddenly ask this? Speak. The white-eyed wolf shouted with a cold face. Yes. Dong Laifu quickly nodded. The white-eyed wolf's expression softened. He asked in a sneaky manner, "Is she beautiful?" Ah. Dong Laifu looked at the white-eyed wolf in astonishment again. Hey, are you looking for death? The white-eyed wolf said angrily. Beautiful, beautiful. Her Royal Highness is known as the #1 beauty of the Central Dynasty. Dong Laifu quickly nodded. #1 beauty? Is this for real? Don't tell me everyone is flattering her. The white-eyed wolf expressed his doubts. Regarding this question, I dare to swear that it is absolutely not fake. Your Highness, you are so beautiful that you can topple a city. Dong Laifu said. If that's the case, the white-eyed wolf turned to look at Qin Feiyang in frenzy and said, "Does big cousin really like this princess? Otherwise, why hasn't he confessed to Fire Lotus yet?" Qin Feiyang and frenzy were speechless when they heard this. They were wondering what he was going to do. In the end, it turned out that he was struggling with this question. Feelings weren't something that could happen just because he said so. There had to be a process. Although Lu Jiajin and Fire Lotus had known each other for a long time, the two of them hadn't really interacted much. How could Lu Jiajin confess like this? The eunuch was more anxious than the emperor. This sentence was indeed true. Qin Feiyang looked at the two and said, "If there are no other questions, then let's get ready to move." Okay. Frenzy nodded. But suddenly, he stretched out his hand and said, "Wait." Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously. Frenzy pondered for a while and looked at Dong Laifu. Did Dong Qingyuan leave his divine soul in the Central Dynasty? How is that possible? In the Central Dynasty, he is an existence that is second only to one person. His pride and arrogance wouldn't allow him to do such a thing. Dong Laifu said. That's good. Frenzy nodded and smiled. This way, killing Dong Qingyuan in the future wouldn't be in vain. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said with a smile, "Since you asked this, then let's ask about Dong Qingyuan's strength." How is Dong Qingyuan's strength? His strength. Definitely stronger than me. Also, he has a pinnacle sovereign divine weapon. Dong Laifu said. What? A pinnacle sovereign divine weapon. Qin Feiyang and the other two were shocked. Low, middle, high, after high was the pinnacle sovereign divine weapon. They didn't expect Dong Qingyuan to be hiding such a terrifying sovereign divine weapon. Dong Laifu said enviously, "It is said that this sovereign divine weapon was personally given to Dong Qingyuan by the sovereign. Its lethality is extremely terrifying." Pinnacle, Qin Feiyang muttered as he looked at Frenzy and the white-eyed wolf. He frowned and said, "In that case, we have underestimated the origin energy of the divine kingdom?" It seems so. The two nodded. In the past, they thought that the origin energy of the divine kingdom could only create a high-grade sovereign divine weapon at most. If that was the case, the Black Tortoise realm would soon catch up to the divine kingdom. Because the current Black Tortoise realm could already create a mid-grade sovereign divine weapon. As long as it grew another level, it would be comparable to the divine kingdom. But they didn't expect a pinnacle sovereign divine weapon to appear now. If that was the case, the Black Tortoise realm would have to grow another 2 levels to catch up to the divine kingdom. The amount of time needed to advance 2 levels was not an ordinary amount of time. The white-eyed wolf pondered for a while and looked at the two. However, a pinnacle sovereign divine weapon isn't much of a threat to us. Don't brag. It isn't much of a threat to old Qin because he has 3,000 incarnations. But you and I aren't a match for a pinnacle sovereign divine weapon. Frenzy shook his head. 10 low-grade sovereign divine weapons were equivalent to 1 mid-grade sovereign divine weapon. 10 mid-grade sovereign divine weapons were equivalent to 1 high-grade sovereign divine weapon. 10 high-grade sovereign divine weapons were equivalent to 1 pinnacle sovereign divine weapon. In other words, 1 pinnacle sovereign divine weapon was equivalent to 1,000 low-grade sovereign divine weapons. This wasn't a small number. Even though Frenzy had a heaven-defying ability like the all-evil sword, he didn't have much confidence. The white-eyed wolf frowned as he looked at Dong Lifu and asked, "Does the Central Dynasty have a legendary sovereign divine weapon?" Legendary sovereign divine weapon was above pinnacle sovereign divine weapon. Never heard of it. At least not as far as I know. But I don't know if Lord Sovereign has one. Dong Lifu shook his head. Because with his status, he couldn't come into contact with the sovereign of the divine kingdom. Chapter 4295. Regardless of whether the sovereign of the divine kingdom has a legendary level sovereign divine weapon or not, this peak level sovereign divine weapon is already ours. The madman smiled. The white-eyed wolf and Qin Feiyang looked at each other and smiled. They couldn't miss out on a peak-level sovereign divine weapon. Looking at their expressions, Dong Lifu had an indescribable feeling in his heart. What kind of people were they? It was as if there was nothing they didn't dare to do. Come with us. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Lifu and smiled. Where to? Dong Lifu was surprised. A good place. Qin Feiyang smiled. Can I not go? Dong Lifu said in horror. How could there be a good place here? No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Dong Lifu curled up in the corner and said in horror, "You said you would let me go. You can't go back on your words." Qin Feiyang laughed and said, "It's not impossible to let you go, but you have to cooperate with us first." Acting? Dong Lifu was slightly stunned and asked suspiciously, "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang joked, "You and Heavenly Lord Ji pretended to be us and went to Blue Sun Mountain to kill Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng's family. We can't always be the scapegoat for this." What? Dong Lifu's eyes trembled. How did Qin Feiyang and the others know about this? We have the all-seeing eye. Is it difficult to know these things? Qin Feiyang looked at him playfully. You've been monitoring us with the all-seeing eye? Dong Lifu was shocked. It's fine as long as you know. There's no need to say it out loud. Qin Feiyang laughed. Now was not the time to reveal their cards. Because many things were unpredictable. If they revealed their relationship with the inner demons now, wouldn't it be a disaster if something unexpected happened? Therefore, what should be kept a secret should be kept a secret. Dong Lifu's eyes trembled. It turned out that all of this was under the surveillance of the other party. Qin Feiyang smiled. If it wasn't for this, why would we go to Mount Supreme and capture you? All right. Dong Lifu nodded and said, I'll cooperate with you, but you must promise to let me go after this. We'll talk about it later. Qin Feiyang smiled. If you don't promise me, I won't go even if you beat me to death. Dong Lifu gritted his teeth. Really? Then I'll kill you. White-eyed Wolf's eyes flashed coldly. Even now, he still dared to bargain with them? He really didn't know what kind of situation he was in right now. Dong Lifu was terrified. What should we do with Dong Qin? White-eyed wolf asked. Qin Feiyang glanced at Dong Qin, pondering for a moment before saying, suppress it in the soul-sealing valley first, it might be useful when dealing with Dong Hanzong. Deal with Brother Zong. Dong Qin's gaze trembled. She could not become a burden to Brother Zong. As expected, she had chosen to destroy her own soul. Humph. The ingrate snorted coldly. She reacted quickly and suppressed Dong Qin. Let me die, let me die. Dong Qin screamed as if she had gone mad. Now, even if you want to die, you'll have to ask us first. White-eyed wolf sneered, grabbed Dong Qin, and rushed out of the castle like lightning, flying toward the soul-sealing valley. Qin Feiyang also waved his hand, sealed Dong Laifu's soul, and followed Lunatic to find Longchen. Below a creation tree. Longchen sat on the ground, his long hair draped over his shoulders, and his white robe was spotless. He was like the Son of God, extraordinary and refined. No. You can't go back on your words. You promised me that you won't use the soul-controlling technique to control me. Dong Laifu roared. As soon as he saw Longchen, he knew what he was going to face. Dong Laifu's roar woke Longchen up. What the hell? Longchen opened his eyes and glared at Qin Feiyang and Lunatic. Cough, cough. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly and said with a smile, there's nothing else. You just have to help control him, and we'll deal with the rest. Longchen rolled his eyes. Soul-controlling technique was activated. Soul-controlling technique was a method to directly control the soul, so even without a physical body, it could be directly controlled. The process was very smooth. After being controlled, Dong Laifu became obedient. Next, you have to listen to them. Longchen said. Yes, Master. Dong Laifu responded respectfully. Amazing. Lunatic bared his teeth. The power of soul-controlling technique was that even if Dong Laifu became a puppet, he would still be the same as before. Unlike puppet-controlling technique. Once turned into a puppet, it would be an emotionless puppet with empty eyes. Others could see this at a glance. But soul-controlling technique. If you didn't know in advance, you wouldn't be able to see that he was already controlled. Is there anything else? Longchen asked. Lunatic was taken aback and nodded, understood, we'll get out of here immediately. Longchen rolled his eyes. Next. Qin Feiyang went to find the mermaid princess and asked her to open the Eye of Life to help Dong Laifu reconstruct his physical body and soul. Then the two of them brought Dong Laifu into the tea garden and asked about Dong Hanzong's life and death again. Because Dong Laifu was not controlled by soul-controlling technique before, what if he was hiding something? In the end, after some questioning, it was exactly the same as before. Madman rolled his eyes and looked at Dong Laifu. Extract all of your ultimate Upanishads. Yes. Dong Laifu nodded and without any hesitation, he immediately sat cross-legged on the ground and stripped out all the ultimate meaning. The more of these things, the better. Lunatic bared his teeth. After a while, Dong Laifu's ultimate meaning were all stripped out, and his cultivation level directly fell to the imperishable realm. The current Dong Laifu had no value to them except for the future plan. Swish. The white-eyed wolf finally returned. How is it? Qin Feiyang asked. It has been suppressed. But to be honest, this woman is really pitiful. The white-eyed wolf sighed. You can also sympathize with her? Lunatic was surprised. What do you mean? So in your eyes, I am a cold-blooded person. The white-eyed wolf said angrily. Haha. Lunatic laughed. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Dong Qin is indeed pitiful, but she is not worthy of sympathy. Why? Is it because she chose to take revenge on Dong Tianchen and the others? The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. Revenge, I am not against it. After all, it is for the people you love. But revenge can also be done through proper means. If she chose to fight with Dong Tianqian and the others to avenge Dong Hanzong openly, not only will I not say anything, but I will also admire her. But now she has chosen to distort the truth. Qin Feiyang shook his head. I am afraid she does not have the ability to fight with Dong Tianqian and the others. The white-eyed wolf frowned. When we first fought with the Divine Kingdom, weren't we inferior to them? But why can we deal with one enemy after another? Qin Feiyang asked. That's true. The white-eyed wolf nodded. Let's not talk about her. Prepare to go to Qingtian City and put on a wonderful show for Dong Qingyuan. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered coldly. He had planned for so long just for this moment. Qingtian City. Night enveloped the world. Although it was already late at night, the city was still brightly lit. This was especially true for the major restaurants, which were basically packed to the brim. Everyone was drinking and discussing while waiting. Buzz. Suddenly, in the night sky, a space-time tunnel appeared. Lu Jiajin and Lunatic, who were standing in the sky, immediately looked at the space-time tunnel with murderous intent in their eyes. A space-time tunnel has appeared. Could it be Qin Feiyang and the others? In the city below. There were also many people who immediately discovered the space-time tunnel and immediately exclaimed. Immediately. People in the major restaurants swarmed out and looked up at the space-time tunnel. It was the center of attention. Finally, 3 figures stepped out of the space-time tunnel one after another. Who else could it be other than Qin Feiyang and the others? It's really them. They really didn't disappoint us. I told you, they can't be afraid of Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. There will definitely be a bloody battle next. Everyone be careful and be ready to leave Qingtian City at any time. Everyone was discussing. Many cowardly people had already fled Qingtian City with their families. You're finally here. The inner demons roared and a monstrous evil aura surged out, heading straight for Qin Feiyang and the others. Humph. Lunatic snorted coldly. A terrifying evil aura also emerged from his body. The 2 evil auras collided with each other. A destructive ripple immediately surged out in all directions like a flood, including the clear sky city below. Leave the city quickly. Someone roared. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang raised his hand and waved. The power of life and death emerged and condensed into a huge barrier above Qingtian City. The destructive wave was blocked by the barrier. Seeing this scene, the people in the city were all stunned. What did Qin Feiyang mean by this? He actually protected them? Qin Feiyang looked at the inner demons and said indifferently, "This is our personal grudge, don't hurt the innocent." Hee, I didn't expect you to be so benevolent. They are all people of our divine kingdom and you still want to protect them? The inner demons sneered. Whether it is the people of the divine kingdom or the people of the sky cloud realm, they should not be involved in our battle. Qin Feiyang said. Stop pretending to be benevolent. If you are really such a person, why did you go to Qingyang Mountain to kill our family? Aren't they innocent? The inner demons roared. I will give you an explanation for this matter later. After Qin Feiyang said that, he looked at the people in the city below and said indifferently, I know that there are many of you here. You are all spies sent by the Emperor, the Monarch, and the Supreme Being of the human race. Now inform the Emperor and the others to come to Qingtian City immediately. As expected. As Qin Feiyang's voice fell, many people took out their voice transmission stones. What do you want? Aren't you afraid that they will encircle you? The inner demon sneered. If we were afraid, we wouldn't have come to Qingtian City. Besides, maybe you will help us later. Qin Feiyang laughed. What do you mean? The inner demons frowned. Don't worry, you will know soon. After Qin Feiyang said that, he slowly took out a tea table and a few wooden stools and sat down with the madman and the white-eyed wolf to drink tea. You still have the mood to drink tea? Seeing this, everyone was speechless. Chapter 4296. Supreme Mountain. Sir. The human race Supreme Master hurried to the back mountain and stood in front of Dong Qingyuan's courtyard. Soon. Dong Qingyuan walked out and looked at the anxious human race Supreme Master. He frowned and said, "What's the matter? Why are you so flustered?" A spy reported that Qin Feiyang and the other two appeared in Qingtian City. The human race Supreme Master said. Really? Dong Qingyuan asked in surprise. It's absolutely true. The human race Supreme Master nodded. They really dare to go to Qingtian City. It seems that I have underestimated their courage. Killing intent flashed in Dong Qingyuan's eyes. He turned to look at the courtyard next door and shouted, "Dong Laifu, come out immediately. Let's go to Qingtian City." However, there was no response from the courtyard. What's going on? Dong Qingyuan was stunned. The human race Supreme Master also had a suspicious look. Dong Qingyuan released his divine sense and shrouded the courtyard. No one? After coming back to his senses, he hurriedly turned to look at the human race Supreme Master and asked, "Have you seen Dong Laifu?" No. The human race Supreme Master shook his head. What's going on? Dong Qingyuan frowned. The human race Supreme Master said suspiciously, "Could it be that he has already gone to Qingtian City?" Impossible. Dong Qingyuan shook his head. Dong Laifu was his confidant. If he really went to Qingtian City, he would definitely report to him in advance. Then, he probably has something to do and left alone. The human race Supreme Master guessed. Dong Qingyuan frowned and waved his hand. Let's ignore him and go to Qingtian City. Not long after the two opened the teleportation channel and left, Dong Tianchen, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian, who lived on the other side, also walked out of their respective courtyards. The three of them looked at each other and went straight to Dong Qin's pavilion without saying a word. In their eyes, there was a bone-piercing killing intent. Obviously, they wanted to take advantage of Dong Qingyuan's absence to attack Dong Qin. However, when they entered the courtyard and saw that there was no one in the loft, they were a little stunned. Where was this damn woman? Could it be that teacher is protecting her? Dong Xian frowned. There's no other explanation. Dong Ping snorted. It seems that teacher has already expected that we won't let Dong Qin go. Dong Tianchen sighed, looking rather vexed. Are we going to Qingtian City now? Dong Ping asked. Of course. Qin Feiyang's opponents this time are Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. Moreover, the people of the three major races will definitely take this opportunity to encircle and annihilate them. As long as they die, won't we be able to regain our freedom? Dong Xian sneered. Qingtian City. More and more people rushed over after hearing the news. There were even remnants of the Sea clan and the Beast clan. There was no exception. When they saw Qin Feiyang and the other two sitting in the sky above the city and drinking tea as if there was no one else around, their expressions became extremely strange. There wasn't even the slightest bit of tension. Those who didn't know would think that this was a gathering of old friends. Swish. As space-time tunnels appeared, the first to descend upon Qingtian City was the Divine King. The 10 reverends of the deity race all followed him. His aura was monstrous. Following closely, the monarch and heavenly lord Ji also arrived with the 10 supremacies of the purple gold divine dragon clan. The atmosphere gradually became solemn. Because the people of the two major races were filled with an inescapable murderous intent. After a few breaths, the human clan supreme being and Dong Qingyuan also arrived with a group of experts. Dong Qingyuan looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two with murderous intent surging in his eyes. He waved his hand and said, "Surround them." The people of the three major races immediately spread out and surrounded Qin Feiyang and the other two. Seeing this scene, Qin Feiyang and the other two couldn't help but show a trace of mockery on their faces. Damn old man, don't be hasty. I'll let you be awe-inspiring for a while. You'll suffer later. Almost everyone is here. Qin Feiyang chuckled. As he waved his hand, a few small stools appeared. He said with a smile, "Why don't you sit down and we'll talk while drinking tea?" "My three little brothers, you're quite refined," Dong Qingyuan said with a smile. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. "We're just trying to find joy in hardship. We can't compare with you. You're the refined one." "Is that so? I didn't even realize it myself." Dong Qingyuan looked at Qin Feiyang with a fake smile. "Don't do it unless you don't want others to know." Qin Feiyang smiled meaningfully. He looked at the inner demons and Lu Jiajin and said, "You should be very curious now. Why did I kill your family? If you have something to say it quickly." The inner demons raised his eyebrows. "Okay. I'll tell you now. I didn't kill your family," Qin Feiyang said. "Are you joking with us? The news that you went to Blue Sun Mountain and killed their family has already spread throughout the 4 great continents. There's irrefutable evidence." Dong Qingyuan shouted coldly. "That's right. Someone clearly recorded the whole process of you killing their family. The evidence is irrefutable. How can you deny it?" The people in the city below also shouted one after another. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Qingyuan, then at the people in the city below and said with a faint smile, "What you see may not be true." "What a joke. The evidence is right in front of us. How can it be false? Besides you, who else has 3,000 incarnations? Don't tell us that it was the purple gold divine dragon who did it." Someone sneered. Qin Feiyang took a sip of tea and said playfully, "What if it was really the purple gold divine dragon who did it?" "What?" The people looked at the Overlord and Heavenly Lord Ji in surprise. "Don't talk nonsense. It's obvious. We're all people of the Divine Kingdom. How can we kill Lu Yunfeng's family?" The Overlord shouted coldly. "My lord, don't be so agitated." Qin Feiyang smiled and looked at Dong Qingyuan. He sighed and said, "You're really ruthless. You can even come up with such a vicious plan to deal with us." Dong Qingyuan's pupils contracted. Looking at Qin Feiyang's eyes, he was a little nervous. What was going on? Could it be that Qin Feiyang had already seen through the truth of this matter? Lu Yuntian, Lu Yunfeng, although I, Qin Feiyang, am not a good person, at the very least, I know that I should not implicate my family. Furthermore, I don't even know where the Cyansan Mountain is. How could I possibly go and kill your family?" Qin Feiyang said. The inner demons frowned and asked, "Then what's the matter with the video circulating in the 4 great continents?" "Someone is framing us," Qin Feiyang said. "Framing?" The inner demons were stunned. Dong Qingyuan shouted, "Lu Yuntian, don't listen to his nonsense. He's trying to sow discord. Hurry up and avenge your family. We'll all help you." "Old man, are you in such a hurry to kill us? Are you trying to silence us?" The lunatic looked at Dong Qingyuan mockingly. "What nonsense are you talking about? The evidence is irrefutable. How are you going to deny it?" Dong Qingyuan shouted. "The irrefutable evidence you're talking about is nothing more than that video. But let me tell you, I also have evidence in my hands that can prove that you're the one who set all this up." The corners of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted slightly, and he looked at Dong Qingyuan playfully. Dong Qingyuan was shocked. "What evidence? What do you mean by that?" The inner demons frowned and looked at Qin Feiyang. He asked, "Dong Qingyuan has something to do with the deaths of our family members?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. His voice suddenly became sonorous and powerful. There was even a hint of sharpness in it. He pointed at Dong Qingyuan and said, "He planned all of this." The person who went to Blue Sun Mountain first was Dong Laifu. What? The inner demons turned to look at Dong Qingyuan in disbelief. Don't listen to their nonsense. Dong Qingyuan pretended to be calm and looked at Qin Feiyang. He said angrily, since you said that I set this up, then show us the evidence. He didn't believe that Qin Feiyang really had evidence in his hands. Because only Dong Laifu, Heavenly Lord Ji, the monarch, and old Wu knew about this. Even the Divine King, the supremacy of the human race, and Dong Tianqian didn't know. Are you sure you want evidence? The lunatic and the white-eyed wolf looked at him mockingly. Show us if you can. Dong Qingyuan sneered. That's what you said. Don't regret it later. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and a figure suddenly appeared beside him. Dong Laifu. Dong Qingyuan's eyes trembled. What was going on? Why was Dong Laifu with Qin Feiyang? Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian, who were hiding in the distance, were also shocked. What was going on? Qin Feiyang glanced at Dong Qingyuan, then looked at the inner demons and Lu Jiejin. He smiled and said, You too should be familiar with this person, right? Of course not. He is Dong Laifu, Dong Qingyuan's henchman from the Central Dynasty. The inner demon said. Qin Feiyang and the others knew about Dong Laifu's existence, but the people below didn't, so they had to reveal Dong Laifu's identity in advance. Qin Feiyang looked at the people below and said with a smile, You heard it, right? This man is Dong Qingyuan's henchman. He must be telling the truth. Everyone was silent. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, Dong Laifu, why don't you tell everyone what's going on? But before Dong Laifu could speak, Dong Qingyuan's eyes flashed with killing intent as he shouted, Dong Laifu, how dare you collude with Qin Feiyang to frame me? I'll kill you, you bastard. Don't move. The inner demons stepped in front of Dong Qingyuan and said, Let Dong Laifu finish. Lu Yuntian, do you really believe Qin Feiyang's nonsense? Dong Qingyuan shouted. We'll know if it's nonsense after Dong Laifu says it. I don't want to say it again. If you dare to attack now, don't blame me for not showing mercy. Killing intent surged in the inner demon's eyes. Dong Qingyuan's face was ashen. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Qingyuan and said mockingly, You really can't kill Dong Laifu now. Otherwise, you'll be suspected of silencing him. You, Dong Qingyuan clenched his fists and glared at Dong Laifu. Think carefully before you speak. His words were laced with a threatening tone. Qin Feiyang turned to Dong Laifu and said with a smile, Tell us everything you know. Yes. Dong Laifu nodded respectfully. He looked at Dong Qingyuan and said, I was the one who pretended to be Qin Feiyang and went to Blue Sun Mountain the first time. At that time, I was ordered by Dong Qingyuan to test their strength. Dong Qingyuan, the inner demons and Dong Qingyuan were furious when Dong Laifu said this. They glared at Dong Qingyuan fiercely. Chapter 4297. That's not true. Dong Laifu is framing us. Dong Qingyuan said hurriedly. Don't worry. I'm not done yet. Qin Feiyang chuckled, looked at Dong Laifu, and ordered, Continue. The first time, I went to test their strength and was seriously injured by them, forcing me to self-destruct. When I reported this to Dong Qingyuan, he thought of a plan to continue pretending to be Qin Feiyang and the others to kill Lu Yuntian's family. Because Lu Yuntian's brother was not very enthusiastic about killing Qin Feiyang and the others. But because of their talent and strength, Dong Qingyuan did not dare to scold them, so he came up with this plan. He used the death of Lu Yuntian's family to provoke their anger. This way, they would hate Qin Feiyang to the core and would definitely hunt down Qin Feiyang and the others. Dong Laifu said slowly. Dong Qingyuan was furious and roared, Nonsense, nonsense, this is clearly your plan, haha, you've confessed without being pressed. But before he could finish, the white-eyed wolf and the mad scientist laughed. Dong Qingyuan's face froze when he heard this. Wasn't this the same as confessing without being pressed? Dong Qingyuan, the inner demons and Lu Jiajin glared at Dong Qingyuan, their eyes extremely terrifying. The people in the city below also looked at Dong Qingyuan in disbelief. How could he kill the people around him? That was too cruel. It's not like that. Seeing that he had become the target of public criticism, Dong Qingyuan hurriedly waved his hand to explain. See, I'll shut up. The inner demons said sternly. He looked at Dong Laifu and said, Go on, who was the one who pretended to be Qin Feiyang and killed our family members the second time? The one who pretended to be Qin Feiyang the second time was him. Dong Laifu suddenly pointed at Heavenly Lord Ji and said. What? Patriarch, is this true? The 10 lords of the purple gold divine dragon race looked at Heavenly Lord Ji in shock. Heavenly Lord Ji's face was gloomy as he glared at Dong Laifu and said furiously, You were clearly the ones who told me to go. It really is you. The inner demons and Lu Jiajin gloomily stared at Heaven Lord Ji. Heavenly Lord Ji looked at Dong Qingyuan in panic. However, Dong Qingyuan closed his eyes and turned a deaf ear to Heavenly Lord Ji's request for help. He seemed to be trying his best to suppress the anger in his heart. Speak. Is it you or not? The inner demon spoke, their killing intent soaring to the heavens. Heavenly Lord Ji retracted his gaze, lowered his head, and pondered for a while. He sighed and said, Yes, it's me, but they asked me to go. You should know Dong Qingyuan and the others' methods. If I don't go, I won't have a good ending. Bastard. The inner demons were furious. One more thing. Do you know who recorded this video? Who was the one who spread it? Qin Feiyang looked at the crowd and smiled. Who? The inner demons frowned. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Laifu. Dong Laifu said, This person is Old Man Wu of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon race. He's actually a spy we planted in the Purple Gold Divine Dragon race. What? The Lord, Heavenly Lord Ji and the 10 Supremes were stunned. The Lord and Heavenly Lord Ji certainly knew, but at this moment, they had to pretend not to know. Old Man Wu is a spy. Bastard. Great Supremes, go and capture Old Man Wu right now. The Lord shouted. Yes. The Great Supremes nodded and immediately opened a passage and left furiously. The other 9 Supremes stared at Dong Qingyuan with a gloomy look. The people of the Central Dynasty had gone too far. How dare they plant a spy in the Purple Gold Divine Dragon race? Without a doubt. Once Old Man Wu's identity was exposed, the entire Purple Gold Divine Dragon race would definitely be enraged. And this anger would undoubtedly be the fuse that would break the relationship between the Purple Gold Divine Dragon race and the Central Dynasty. What's going on? Why would the Central Dynasty plant a spy in the Purple Gold Divine Dragon race? Those of the human race and the god race were shocked. The Purple Gold Divine Dragon race was loyal to the Central Dynasty, but they still did this. This was too disappointing. The Divine King and the Supremes of the human race looked at each other and a glint of light flashed in their eyes. They turned to Qin Feiyang and asked, Then, do we have a spy from the Central Dynasty? In fact, they were hinting that they should take the opportunity to get rid of the spy around them. Qin Feiyang understood and his eyes glittered. He might as well get rid of the spy from the god race and the human race as well. Because this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The exposure of Old Wu as a spy had already aroused the anger of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan. If the spies of the human clan and the divine clan were also exposed at this time, the human clan and the divine clan would definitely be furious. When the time came. Maybe the monarch, the divine king and the supremes of the human race didn't even need to speak, and the people below would spontaneously resist the Central Dynasty's rule. At this thought, Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Laifu and asked, do you have a spy from the human race and the god race? Yes. Dong Lifu nodded. What? The Divine King and the Supremes of the human race were furious and shouted, Who? At this moment, the 3 Supremes of the human race and the 10 Supremes of the god race were extremely frightened. Because they were spies. 2 of the spies of the human race and the god race are here right now. They are the 3 Supremes of the human race and the 10 Supremes of the god race. Dong Lifu pointed at the 2 and said. Swoosh. In an instant, everyone's gaze was focused on the 2 of them. Supremes, it's not like that. You have to believe me. The 3 Supremes of the human race hurriedly waved their hands in extreme fear. Lord Divine King, don't listen to his nonsense, I'm not. The 10 Supremes of the god race also shook their heads. Shut up. The Divine King's face was as gloomy as water. The other 9 Supremes of the human race and the god race also looked at the 2 in disbelief. They never thought that their old friends who had been with them for so many years were actually spies of the Central Dynasty. The Supremes of the human race looked at Dong Lifu and asked, Who else is there besides them? Dong Lifu said, There are 2 more. One is the master of the law enforcement hall of the human race and the other is the city lord of the god race. Preposterous, preposterous. The Divine King and the Supremes of the human race were furious. They looked at the other Supremes of the 2 races and shouted, Supremes, stay here. The rest of you go back and capture them. Yes. The 16 Supremes of the 2 races immediately opened the space-time tunnel and turned to leave. The 3 Supremes of the human race and the 10 Supremes of the god race looked at each other and flew behind Dong Qingyuan at the same time. My lord, you must save us. Didn't you just say that you're not spies? Why are you running to Dong Qingyuan's side now? The Divine King was furious. The 2 were extremely panicked. Damn it. The god race has spies, and they're the 10 Supremes and the city lord of the god race. This is outrageous. 10 Supremes, do you still have a conscience? How dare you betray our race? Many god race members in the city below glared at the 10 Supremes in anger. The humans in the city were also heartbroken about the 3 supremacies. Did you see that? This is the Central Dynasty's method. Not only do they not trust the 3 races, they even attacked Lu Yuntian's family. They're completely inhumane. I'd like to ask everyone, is this Central Dynasty really worth your lives? Qin Feiyang spoke at this time. His voice wasn't very loud, but it spread through the entire Qingtian city and fell clearly into everyone's ears. This was the perfect opportunity to add fuel to the fire and completely ignite the anger in the hearts of the 3 races. The moment these words were spoken, everyone fell into a dead silence. Everyone lowered their heads and remained silent. Think about it carefully. The Oceanic race and the Beast race had been hiding in the East continent and doing nothing, but they've been rewarded by the sovereign of the Divine Kingdom. I'm sure the Dragon God and Neptune don't need me to say more about the origin energy. On the other hand, no matter what you 3 races do, you're always at the forefront. Take this invasion of the Sky Cloud realm for example. It's always the 3 races at the front. But now, what have you gotten? You've gotten distrust and surveillance. May I ask, are you really willing to serve such people? If you say you're willing, then I can only scold you for being too stupid. You've never thought about the future of the 3 races. Qin Feiyang shook his head and mocked. The eyes of the 3 races trembled when they heard this. I'm not willing. Someone suddenly roared. It was the human race's great supremes. As a great supremes, he shouldn't have been the first to express his opinion, but he couldn't hold back the anger in his heart. Yes. It's not worth it. Today, the Central Dynasty can kill the families of Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. In the future, they will definitely do the same to us. We must unite and resist the Central Dynasty's rule. This is the only way to preserve the dignity of our three races and protect our descendants. The others also roared, each of them filled with righteous indignation. Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other with a smile in their eyes. This was the result they wanted to see the most. In the current situation, it was no exaggeration to say that as long as the monarch, the divine king, and the supremes of the human race gave the order, the people of the three races would definitely follow them and resist the central dynasty. Everyone, calm down. The monarch shouted. My lord, we can't calm down. It's the central dynasty that has gone too far. The supremes of the purple gold divine dragon race all shouted angrily. I know. But we can't betray the divine kingdom. The monarch sighed deeply. Monarch, do you know that this is blind loyalty? Qin Feiyang shook his head. This is our business. You don't have the right to interfere. The monarch glared at Qin Feiyang and said angrily. What's with your attitude? If it wasn't for us, would you have found these spies? You're so heartless. The madman harumphed coldly. The monarch clenched his hands and was about to speak. Buzz. But then, a space-time passage appeared. It was the purple gold divine dragon race's great supremes who had returned with Old Man Wu. Old Man Wu wasn't injured at all, so it seemed that the great supremes hadn't told him about this, so he was confused. Chapter 4298. But soon, Old Wu realized that the atmosphere wasn't right. The reason for that was because the people of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan were looking at him with eyes filled with fury. What's going on? A trace of suspicion crept into his heart. But suddenly, he noticed Dong Laifu standing next to Qin Feiyang and the other two and was shocked. What was going on? Why was Dong Laifu standing next to Qin Feiyang and the other two? He's here. The king turned to look at him with disappointment in his eyes. Old Wu was a little nervous. Why did everyone look so strange? Do you know him? The king pointed at Dong Laifu and asked. Old Wu looked at Dong Laifu and nodded. Yes, he's from the Central Dynasty. Are you familiar with him? The king asked again. No. Old Wu shook his head. Not familiar? If you weren't familiar with him, would you go to Qingyang Mountain with Dong Laifu? If you weren't familiar with him, would you help him record the video of the Heavenly Lord killing Lu Yuntian's family and spread it overnight? The king roared. This, Old Wu's face changed. Dong Laifu has already confessed. Are you still going to explain? The king's eyes flashed with killing intent, which made Old Wu feel like he was in an abyss. He quickly knelt in the void and said, It's not like that. Let me explain, what's there to explain? I really didn't expect you to betray us and be bought over by the Central Dynasty. The king was heartbroken. No, Dong Laifu forced me to do this, Old Wu shook his head. Bastard. The truth is right in front of you. You're still talking nonsense. Haven't the purple gold divine dragon race been good to you all these years? The king treats you like a brother. Tian Yu and the Heavenly Lord treat you like a grandfather. We, the 10 supremacies in the eyes of outsiders, are also polite to you. Is this how you repay us? The 10 supremacies of the purple gold divine dragon race shouted. Old Wu was flustered looking at the angry group of people. Suddenly, he took a big stride forward and arrived behind Dong Qingyuan. Panicked, he cried out, Save me, milord. However, the moment Dong Qingyuan closed his eyes, he did not open them again. No one knew what he was thinking at that moment. The anger on his face had also disappeared. He appeared abnormally calm, so calm that it was frightening. Wang. At this moment, the other sovereigns of the human race and the god race also arrived with the city lord of the divine city and the lord of the disciplinary hall of Mount Supreme. The two of them were not as lucky as Old Wu. His entire body was drenched in blood. His sea of qi had also been destroyed. Sovereign, please spare my life. Lord Divine King, please give me another chance. As soon as the two of them arrived, they immediately knelt in front of the Divine King and Jizun, crying and begging for mercy. Give you a chance? When you betrayed us, did you ever think about our feelings? A city lord of Godhead City and a hall lord of the Hall of Law Enforcement. You can say that we're handing over the lives and deaths of countless people to you. Is this how you repay us? The Divine King and Jizun's faces were gloomy. Sorry, we were confused for a moment. We will definitely repent, give us another chance, please. The two of them were terrified. They never thought that one day, their identities would be found out. Shut up. The Divine King raised his hand and slapped the city lord of Godhead City's face. He said angrily, "Answer me, what exactly did the Central Dynasty give you?" The two of them looked at Dong Qingyuan for help. Seeing that Dong Qingyuan turned a deaf ear to them, the two of them were desperate. Speak. The Divine King was furious. Nothing. At first, it was the Dragon God and Neptune who came to us. Later, the Dragon God and Neptune fell into the hands of Qin Feiyang. We thought this matter was over, and we even planned to stop being their informants. However, we didn't expect that Neptune had already told the Central Dynasty about our situation when he went to the Dragon God. A few days ago, Dong Laifu suddenly came to us and asked us to continue working for them. My lord, we had no choice. They're from the Central Dynasty. Do we dare to go against them? The two of them cried. Huh, the Divine King laughed and shook his head. Do you think we're stupid? The City Lord of Godhead City and the Hall Lord of the Hall of Law Enforcement of Mount Supreme have great power. If they didn't promise you anything, would you take such a big risk and betray us? We really didn't. The two of them hurriedly shook their heads. Say it again, did you or did you not? The Divine King stared at the two of them with murderous intent. The two of them were trembling. At the same time, Qin Feiyang looked at Old Wu and the others with flickering eyes. That's right. There's definitely a reason why these people betrayed the Divine King, the King, and the Lord of Humanity. Even if they betrayed them because they wanted to get some benefits from Neptune and the Dragon God, now that Neptune and the Dragon God were dead, they still chose to continue working for the Central Dynasty. This meant that Dong Qingyuan must have promised them something. Why don't we just ask Dong Laifu if he promised them anything? Qin Feiyang smiled. The Divine King was a bit surprised and immediately looked at Dong Laifu. We did promise them some benefits, saying that. Dong Laifu suddenly shook his head. No, to be exact, this was a condition that they brought up. What condition? The Divine King said in a low voice. Dong Laifu, don't talk nonsense. The City Lord roared. Pa! But before he could finish, the Divine King slapped him again. The City Lord spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body was mangled and twisted. From this, one could see just how strong this slap was. If you dare say another word, I'll make you wish you were dead. The Divine King gloomily said. Then he looked at Dong Laifu and said, continue. They brought up different conditions. The City Lord's condition was to help him sit on the Divine King's throne in the future. This is because he has long been dissatisfied with your rule over the Divine King. As for the 10 sovereigns of your god race, his condition was to enter the Central Dynasty. Dong Laifu said. What? He wants to usurp my position as the Divine King? You're quite ambitious. The Divine King glared at the City Lord. She really didn't expect this person she had always trusted to be so ambitious. The City Lord was both panicked and desperate. And you? The Divine King then looked at the 10 sovereigns hiding behind Dong Qingyuan and sneered. Although it said that men strive for greater heights and water flows to lower depths, your betrayal of your master is simply laughable. You are a disgrace to the god race. The 10 sovereigns lowered their heads, trembling in fear and not daring to speak. As expected, this is a wonderful show. Qin Feiyang and the other two exchanged glances, their faces full of smiles. This way, all the members of the god race would be even more dissatisfied with the central dynasty. The white-eyed wolf purposely asked loudly, Dong Lifu, what conditions did the hall master of the law enforcement hall, the third sovereign, and old Wu of the purple gold divine dragon race propose? Don't say it. We're begging you. The three looked at Dong Lifu in panic and roared. But Dong Lifu ignored them and said, Old Wu's condition is to help him obtain 3,000 clones. The hall master of the law enforcement hall and the third sovereign's conditions are similar to the two from the god race. One wants to enter the central dynasty and the other wants to become the sovereign of the human race. Old Wu and the other two slumped to the ground, their faces ashen. If they knew about this, the monarch and the human sovereign would not let them go. Why did it become like this? Why, haha. How wonderful. The white-eyed wolf laughed and looked at the monarch and the other two. Let me ask you, are you surprised? The three's faces were dark. Qin Feiyang chuckled and looked at Dong Lifu. So, you've agreed to their conditions? Yes. Dong Qingyuan agreed. Actually, in the eyes of the central dynasty, the god race, the human race, and the purple gold divine dragon race are just cannon fodder. Dong Lifu said. Bastard. And you're still treating us like cannon fodder. Your Majesty, Your Majesty, Your Majesty, Your Majesty, let's rebel. This kind of sovereign, this kind of central dynasty, is not worth our lives. In front of them, we don't even have the least bit of dignity. At these words, everyone from the three major races present couldn't help but roar. The monarch and the other two were silent. This was indeed a good opportunity to revolt. Because as long as they expressed their stance now, the people of the three major races would definitely follow them and rebel against the central dynasty. However, they hadn't figured out the foundation of the central dynasty yet, so they couldn't risk the fate of the three major races. So, they had to continue to endure. I really didn't expect things to develop to this point. In the distance, Dong Tianxin and the other two looked solemn. Yes. This Qin Feiyang is really terrifying. Such a sure-death situation, not only did he solve it easily, but he also made the creatures of the four continents hostile to the central dynasty. If this matter continues, our divine kingdom will fall apart. At this moment, the three of them were full of fear toward Qin Feiyang and the others. In the past, they were afraid of the strength of Qin Feiyang and the others, but now they were afraid of the means of Qin Feiyang and the others. This was purely playing them in the palm of his hand. And they were powerless to refute. Suddenly, there was a loud laugh. Everyone looked at Dong Qingyuan. Now, he was still in the mood to laugh. Was he stupid? Dong Qingyuan finally opened his eyes and scanned the city. In the end, he looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two. Instead of anger, his old face was full of admiration. What are you looking at? Do you suddenly feel that the three of us are very handsome and want to marry your granddaughter to us? The white-eyed wolf looked at him jokingly. Dong Qingyuan couldn't stop laughing as if he had gone crazy. The white-eyed wolf frowned. He couldn't take this blow. Was he really crazy? Amazing. Young people of the Divine Kingdom, no, even the older generation of the Divine Kingdom has to admit defeat in front of you. Dong Qingyuan gradually stopped laughing and looked at the three of them. Chapter 4299. You're praising us? The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang and the madman in shock. Was this old man crazy? What we've done is worthy of praise. The madman laughed shamelessly. The white-eyed wolf's mouth twitched. How could he be more shameless than him? However, Qin Feiyang didn't say anything. He just looked at Dong Qingyuan silently. Dong Qingyuan was so calm. Did he have something to rely on? Logically speaking, all of Dong Qingyuan's plans had been exposed by them, so he should have been driven to desperation. Especially Dong Laifu's betrayal. If it were anyone else, it would be impossible for them to be so calm. You guys are really powerful. Not only did you destroy my plan, but you also checkmated me. But so what? Even if the monarch and the others know about this, will they still attack me? Dong Qingyuan slammed the crutch in his hand, and a terrifying sovereign's aura rolled out. His entire body also exploded with a shocking aura. A sovereign divine weapon. Qin Feiyang and the others narrowed their eyes as they stared at the crutch in Dong Qingyuan's hand. This should be the pinnacle sovereign divine weapon that Dong Laifu mentioned. The monarch and the others also looked at the crutch in shock. Of course, they were no stranger to this crutch. As Dong Qingyuan had always carried it with him, they usually didn't see anything special about it. They never expected it to be such a terrifying sovereign divine weapon. Dong Qingyuan looked at the monarch and the others with a cold glint in his eyes. He said, "I order you to surround Qin Feiyang and the others immediately." The monarch and the others couldn't help but frown when they heard this. His attitude was still so arrogant. What? Do you really want to rebel? Let me tell you, the divine kingdom can create you, and it can also destroy you. Dong Qingyuan's eyes were gloomy and overbearing. This caused the monarch and the other two monarchs to feel a surge of anger rising in their hearts. Did he really think he was someone important? Seeing Dong Qingyuan's domineering attitude, the spies also gained some confidence. The 10 reverends of the god race said, "Divine King, Monarch, we're not betraying you at all." What did you say? The divine kingdom stared at the 10 lords with undisguised killing intent. Whether it's you or us, we're all citizens of the divine kingdom. We're loyal to the central dynasty and the Lord Ruler. What's wrong with that? The 10 venerables coldly snorted. That's right. Your vision is too small. Do you think that we should be loyal to you just because we are from the 3 major races? What a joke. Are you greater than the central dynasty and the Lord Ruler? The 3 martial highnesses of the human race and Old Wu spoke too. All right. The monarch and the other 2 nodded. They were so angry that they laughed. Lord Dong Qingyuan is an emissary sent by the emperor. If you don't listen to his orders, you are rebelling. Do you know the consequences of rebelling? Therefore, you should listen to me obediently. Otherwise, the 3 tribes will be wiped out. The spies sneered. They couldn't be blamed for being so arrogant. It was all because Dong Qingyuan's current performance was too domineering. Unknowingly, it gave them a lot of confidence and courage. Little did they know. The monarch and the other 2 were already extremely angry. Now, he was deliberately provoking them. Wasn't this the same as challenging their bottom line? Boom! Accompanied by a terrifying murderous aura, the Divine King took a step forward and landed in front of the city lord of the Divine City. He slammed his palm down. No, the city lord of the Divine City screamed. Before he could celebrate, the god of death had already arrived. However, the Divine King didn't show any mercy. As the power of law appeared, a shocking aura erupted. The city lord of the Divine City screamed as blood splattered all over the sky. Immediately after, the Divine King grabbed the city lord's divine soul. "Lord, please, don't kill me," the city lord's divine soul wailed. This sudden scene was undoubtedly a wake-up call for the 3 martial highnesses, the 10 martial highnesses, and Old Wu. His arrogance vanished in an instant, leaving behind only a look of horror. Especially the Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall, who was paralyzed in front of the sovereign of the human race. He was so scared that he even peed. Do you think Dong Qingyuan can protect you? Don't forget, this is the 4 great continents, not the central dynasty. The divine king smiled coldly and clenched his fist. The divine soul of the city lord immediately let out a mournful cry and was destroyed. Old Wu and the other two trembled. That's right. They were now in the 4 great continents. The master of the 4 great continents was the divine king, the sovereign of the human race. Here, they had the final say. As for Dong Qingyuan, although he had a peak-level sovereign divine weapon, the powerhouses of the 3 races were not to be trifled with. Dong Qingyuan might not be their opponent. Moreover, isn't there a saying that goes like this? A strong dragon couldn't suppress a snake in its old haunts. No matter how high Dong Qingyuan's status was and how strong he was, in the 4 great continents, the emperor was far away. What could he do? More importantly, right now, the people of the 3 major races all loathed Dong Qingyuan to the core. The Central Dynasty's actions had already aroused public anger. Previously, many people had already proposed to resist the Central Dynasty's rule. In such a situation, it was already very good that Dong Qingyuan could protect himself. How could he have the heart to protect them? At this moment, the great venerable of the human race also pointed at the hall master of the law enforcement hall who was paralyzed in the void. He looked at the sovereign of the human race and asked, "Sovereign, should we kill this person? He betrayed his own race and has wild ambitions." "Of course, we must kill him," the sovereign of the human race said without hesitation. His tone was also murderous. Hearing this, the great venerable stepped in front of the hall master of the law enforcement hall. "Great venerable, please, don't kill me. I already know my mistakes and I promise to repent. Give me a chance." "No," but before he finished speaking, the great venerable's palm fell, accompanied by a helpless scream. Blood splashed in the sky, and his body and divine soul were both shattered. 2 overlords had died so tragically at the hands of a divine king and a great venerable. Old Wu and the other 2, who were hiding behind Dong Qingyuan, were pale and trembling. The divine king and the sovereign of the human race had used practical actions to prove that the spies had to be killed. The divine king looked at Dong Qingyuan and said, "We're killing the spies in our race. You won't interfere, right?" Dong Qingyuan held his walking stick, and his eyes were frighteningly gloomy. This was obviously a slap to his face. Does he dare to interfere? If he dares to interfere, I'll kill him. The inner demons stared at Dong Qingyuan with murderous intent. "How dare you?" Dong Qingyuan suddenly looked at the inner demons. "How dare you be so arrogant after killing my family?" The inner demons grinned, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. But this smile made people's hair stand on end. Lu Jiajin took a step forward and landed in front of Dong Qingyuan. "Old man, it seems that you still don't know much about us. Do you really think that we won't dare to touch you just because you have the emperor's support?" Dong Qingyuan was shocked and angry. But before he could say anything, a monstrous evil aura surged. The inner demons took a step toward Dong Qingyuan. The life and death laws and the ultimate mysteries of the 6 supreme laws appeared out of nowhere. He roared, "Old man, pay with your life for my family." Boom! Immediately, the 7 ultimate mysteries charged toward Dong Qingyuan. "Oh no! Protect the people of Qingtian City." The Lord was startled. Once a battle of this level started, the people would definitely be plunged into misery and suffering. Before he finished speaking, the Lord and Heavenly Lord Ji activated their 3,000 clones at the same time. The power of Dharma laws appeared and formed a giant shield above the city. Boom! At the same time, the walking stick in Dong Qingyuan's hand also let out a dazzling light and the power of a ruler appeared in all directions. "If you dare to be presumptuous again, you and your brothers will never return to the Central Dynasty." As he shouted, the walking stick shattered the sky and attacked the 7 ultimate mysteries. A peak-level ruler's divine weapon was indeed powerful. Even the life and death laws and the dual will of heaven couldn't compete with it and were instantly destroyed. There's no point in returning to the Central Dynasty. Besides, do you think it's our loss that you won't let us return to the Central Dynasty? No, it's your loss. Because you've lost 2 real peerless talents. In the future, you'll have 2 more terrifying enemies because we can join forces with Qin Feiyang and attack the Central Dynasty. The inner demon sneered. Dong Qingyuan was startled. If that was the case, the Lord Emperor might not let him go. How did things develop to this point? Today, you must die. Not even a peak-level ruler's divine weapon can stop me from killing you. The heart demon looked extremely ferocious as it charged towards Dong Qingyuan step by step. Its scarlet hair fluttered, and its baleful aura surged. Senior Wu and the other 2, who were hiding behind Dong Qingyuan, could not help feeling frightened. Was this Lu Yuntian's courage and strength? He was simply an untamable beast. Clang! Dong Qingyuan was also very nervous. He swept the walking stick in the air and attacked the inner demons. How dare you do this with a peak-level ruler's divine weapon? Kneel down and surrender. The inner demons shouted. Murderous intent surged. In the next second, the Demon King true form was activated. Each of the Demon Kings was as large as a mountain, and the murderous intent they exuded was even more terrifying than the inner demons. Boom! The life and death law's ultimate mysteries, the 6 ultimate mysteries, and the dual wills of the Great Path were all activated in an instant. The walking stick, a peak-level ruler's divine weapon, couldn't help but tremble in the face of such a terrifying lineup. Because its limit was equivalent to 1,000 low-level rulers' divine weapons. These 21,000 ultimate mysteries and the dual wills of the Great Path were enough to kill it instantly. Crack! As expected. In just an instant, the walking stick broke into pieces. This was the inner demons being merciful in denying that this peak-level ruler's divine weapon had been destroyed. Surrender. The inner demons looked at the walking stick with an imposing aura and roared. Immediately. Under Dong Qingyuan's furious gaze, the broken walking stick obediently submitted to the inner demons. This was the inner demon's method. Even a peak-level ruler's divine weapon had to surrender. Not to mention anything else, just the terrifying aura alone was enough to intimidate everything in the world. As expected of Qin Feiyang's inner demons. Not bad. This guy is even more terrifying than Qin Feiyang. The monarch stared at the inner demons, his eyes full of awe. Yes. If he had fought with us all these years, I'm afraid that our 3 races would have followed in the footsteps of the Sea Clan and the Beast Clan. The Divine King and the Human Clan's supremacy thought to themselves. Although Qin Feiyang's methods were terrifying, he was a person who valued relationships. Once this heart demon went berserk, it would be a master who would not recognize anyone and would kill everyone without mercy. You're tuning in to the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.